15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Got some sobering news yesterday, but with a hopeful ending. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We were waiting to see what Deion Sanders' press conference would be about. It turns out he had bladder cancer, which is very serious. He luckily was able to catch it in time. He's made a full recovery as far as being cancer-free, but he's still going to have to deal with the effects of losing his bladder.
Yeah.
And then they've kind of recreated one using parts of his small intestine. I mean, medical science today is just unbelievable. But Deion kind of went between being, very somber and very serious at times to also, being jokey and kind of being very candid and also very relatable as he was talking about this story.
It was in the air coming into this press conference. I think that people must have known because cancer was thrown around this weekend a lot. But I don't think people knew that he had it and that it had been cured, which is amazing news because I was kind of expecting, hey, I might have to retire from football because I'm still dealing with this. So in a way, it's a very victorious press conference. You mentioned there was definitely somber moments, but then he was back to being Deion. So this is by far the best case scenario. It could have easily, as Deion explained, ended another way.
Yeah, just really, really, really life-threatening issues that now have been resolved thanks to modern science. And thanks, I think, to also Deion's positive attitude. Let's hear first, a little of Deion, and then we'll get into the fallout here. Here is Sanders, the Hall of Famer, getting emotional, talking about the journey he's been on.
It has been a tremendous journey, and I'm truly thankful that God is so good. God is so good. You have no idea. You have no idea.
Yeah, very touching moment. He's got his doctor on one side and sort of his personal assistant / de facto nurse kind of on the other, flanked by these two women. A brilliant doctor, clearly, Colorado, and he's got a great support system around him.
Yeah, it's amazing because he's had all these medical issues, right? With his toes amputated, vascular issues. Blessing in disguise, right? Because they might not have been doing all these tests if he didn't have all the problems with his lower body. So honestly, I know he struggled and suffered a lot because of these leg issues and foot issues, but now in a way they saved his life.
Now, this is, of course, Deion Sanders. He'll always be primetime, right? So even in these moments that are so, serious and so sobering, he can always make light of the situation. Here's Deion. I'll hear cut 7, please, Manny, talking about his new life now with the new challenges. And, of course, in only the way Deion can.
I depend on depend, if you know what I mean. I truly depend on depend. Like, I cannot control my bladder.
Yeah, and Deion going on to say now he relates to his young grandson. They're both dealing with similar issues, the grandson in diapers and Deion in depend.
I get up and go to the bathroom already 4 or 5 times a night, but then I'm sitting up there waking up, like my grandson. We in the same thing, we got the same problem right now. We going through the same trials and tribulations. We're trying to see who has the heaviest bag at the end of the night. Like it's ridiculous. But I'm making a joke out of it, but it's real.
Yeah, and in a disarming way, and Deion imploring everyone, get checked out. Men don't like to talk about things. Women don't like to acknowledge these things, but get checked out. So here's a little bit more on the football side of it. Number one, Deion said there's going to be like a porta potty on the sideline. He's going to have to deal with this even during games. I mean, the amount of awareness that he's going to bring to bladder cancer, to getting tested, all of it, it's really going to be amazing. I think he is going to save people's lives, by being this public figure who is talking about this stuff in a very candid way, even joking about it, kind of making people feel comfortable, talking about these details that can be so personal. But he said you're going to see a porta potty on the sideline, Pearl. think you are.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a double dose of news yesterday because Ryan Sandberg died of prostate cancer. So I think every man must have seen if you read the headlines yesterday, you must have said, okay, it's time to be serious. I actually don't know much about, you hear a lot about prostate cancer. I think of Joe Torre's campaign.
Yep.
There's been a lot of athletes. I have not heard much about bladder cancer, but I think every man's like, oh, okay. It's time to get serious about this. Deion said some interesting things. He talked about how men don't want to go to the doctor. He said specifically black men don't always want to go to the doctor. So I think it was a reminder. And then I think he went on a rant. He's like, I'm not just talking to black men. Like every man, like it is a guy thing. Like I get it. I don't like going to the doctor. I don't know if you've ever had periods in your life where you're like things get busy.
Yeah.
And you forget it. But yesterday was a wake up call. Okay, make an appointment. Get your blood checked out, et cetera, et cetera. I got to tell you right now, you know how I felt about Deion in Colorado. I did not like the hype.
Yeah.
For the last 2 years, I was like, he's getting way more attention than he deserves. I'm full on as a fan right now. I don't know if you feel that way, Maggie. I'm like, I am rooting for this guy because of what you mentioned. He's bringing awareness to this problem. How can you not root for Deion Sanders in Colorado football now? I don't think they're going to win the title or anything.
Right.
I think their expectations are not where we had them at their peak. But now went from a polarizing program to a strictly feel-good program in my mind.
Well, I agree. And how could you not? I mean, when he's overcoming something like this, bringing the attitude that he has, the positive attitude, trying to help other people, of course, your view of him. And here's the funny thing I was thinking about with Deion Sanders, who's been in our life forever, as a famous person, as a famous athlete. I don't know if there were a lot of very relatable things about Deion when he was an athlete, right? He was just better than everybody. Worked hard for sure, but he's playing, offense and defense. He's playing baseball. These are things that are admired. Like you would admire this about his athletic prowess, but it can't resonate with a regular average person, right?
Yeah.
Like he's an inner circle Hall of Famer. We've got nothing in common with Deion Sanders. He's just better than us and better than 99.999% of athletes walking this earth. He's just better. And then, he does become relatable with being a father and, being a coach and all of that. But this really, you see him almost in a totally different light. And I know he had the blood clots and I know he had the toes amputated. He said he had 14 surgeries since he's retired, which is insane. I mean, that's just so, the toll that takes on your body has got to be massive. But this put him, I think, in a totally different light. This is relatable. We all, unfortunately, know somebody who has dealt with cancer.
So how do you think this plays out during the year, though? If Colorado's terrible, for example.
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. Can I make one more point? You were saying now that Colorado's like a feel-good story where if it was polarizing before, now with Deion saying that he's cancer-free, if you're just joining us, he told the world yesterday he had bladder cancer, but now he's free, but still dealing with the after effects of that type of cancer. I also feel this way about Shedeur. Now, Shedeur didn't know. Deion said he kept this from all of his sons except for Deion Jr., who's like filming everything for their YouTube channel and documenting all of Deion's struggles. But Shedeur didn't know, Shiloh didn't know, Travis Hunter's like a de facto son didn't know because Deion wanted to make sure they were not, feeling his burden while they're preparing for the NFL draft and getting acclimated. I feel the same way about Shedeur. Now with his father dealing with this, Shedeur's kind of become like a lot of fodder for us to talk about Cleveland's quarterback situation because it is very interesting why he fell to the 5th round. Now he's battling out, 3 other guys in a quarterback room. He has not so far been able really to make a dent in that quarterback conversation, in that competition. And I was feeling for Deion's kids as well. I'm not sure if you were.
Maybe that was the mother in you. No, that I did not make that connection at all. So what do you mean you feel for him? Like you're rooting for him in the quarterback carousel? Like what?
Just that he's dealing with a lot, and everyone is. You never know what someone's going through. None of us do. But I was feeling for Shedeur and for Shiloh also.
Well, yeah, as a human you do, but I'm not sure that's a football story. Like to you, so you're viewing if he comes in 3rd string, you'll be like, oh, I feel bad for him?
No, but I mean, anyone who you find out that they're trying to perform at their best while dealing with a heavy burden of either themselves or a family member. I always feel for people who are going through that. No? Anyway.
Yeah, now I'm back off the train. You're like, oh, man. Like now we're going to stretch this to Shedeur and Shiloh and hope they.
It's his sons.
I know. You feel bad for them as humans, but it doesn't affect them as athletes. You're still going to view them. I mean, Shedeur, let's be real. He did come into this process probably the wrong way. He's full of arrogance. He's actually been quite humble. Did you see the note that he told his dad not to come to Cleveland because he's not getting any reps, and he was kind of, not that he was embarrassed about it, but yeah, I don't know. I understand. I'm rooting for Colorado, but you can't make me I'm not going to root for Shador because of this and the Cleveland thing.
I don't know. This is a tough thing for your parents.
Man,
to be
are we
going
going to overhype? I was like in a good place with the whole Sanders story, and now I'm out again.
What do you mean? How could you be
I just
out?
felt like
there's no in or out here.
Well, yeah, no. I'm pro Deion, but I'm not going to root for Shador over Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Joe Flacco because of this.
I'm just saying he's dealing with a lot. That's what I'm saying, and you never know what somebody's dealing with behind the scenes. And now it's his very famous father who's thankfully on the other side of this. The football question, as far as Deion is concerned, is, how much longer do you keep going here? I think it would probably just be as long as he feels good. And if that's, another year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, he's not going to stop being an inspiration.
Well, let me ask you this: if say they win 4 games this year, are people going to criticize him like a normal coach? Are people going to come after him? Their win total I see is between 5.5 and 6.5. They're supposed to be down this year. Their schedule is not hard. I'm not sure why they can't win more games, but I wonder how long does a good feeling last? Because college football, you could be really brutal on any coach for losing. So does he get a pass if they're bad? I would imagine yes. Because remember, this Colorado football, before Deion, they were terrible.
Right.
So I think now it becomes more realistic. Let's just make them a good program. They don't have to be challenging for the Big 12 title.
I just wonder, well, let's say they do have a below expectation season, whatever that is. Not a bowl game, not a bowl team. We're talking about Colorado, of course.
Not a bowl. That's very realistic.
Do you start losing guys? The portal is such a funny thing because, it giveth and it taketh. So, you have Julian Lewis, who is this, amazing recruit. You have Caden Salter, who's the more air quotes veteran guy who's played at Liberty and now transferred to Colorado. But Julian Lewis, excuse me. He's kind of the guy who, how does a negative season, if there is one, right? If they don't make a bowl game, how does it impact your future quarterback would probably be my biggest question.
Well, yeah, Julian Lewis has already been part of 3 programs already. He's definitely leaving, right? He'll go into the portal to get a new contract at some point.
Or maybe goes to the portal but comes back to Colorado. That happens too if you pony up the money.
I mean, you have a great point. If they're a 4-win team, are they going to be able to get Juju Lewis in the high school? You know how I feel about this. Now I feel like Deion knows very well, transfer portal guys are going to win him something. He built a team on transfer portal. So that's a really good question. Is he going to be able to recruit at the highest level? I imagine no. I think Colorado is going to ease into a medium good program, not get a Travis. I don't think they're going to have a Heisman winner and sort of an All-American quarterback in Shador Sanders. I just think the expectations have lowered now, which is fine, right? Because who were they before? I mean, the Mel Tucker thing was a disaster.
That's true. I guess the one thing about it is, you still have a pretty good staff. A good staff. I mean, they're a famous staff. Marshall Faulk, Warren Sapp. I think everyone's heard of Pat Shurmur. But you have a good staff around you. You're in the Big 12, which means you always have a chance because the parity in that league. We have no idea what the format's going to be for the college football playoff moving forward. Maybe you are getting 2 automatic bids. Maybe that is more, exciting for the league. There's still a lot to be determined here. I don't know if I all of a sudden want to lower the bar here on Colorado.
Wait,
why
because
can't they
of Marshall
compete
Faulk?
in the Big 12?
What?
I'm saying the coaching.
Warren Sapp and Marshall Faulk. Yeah, I know. That's a good point. But you definitely, this year is supposed to be an off year, right? They lost Shador and Travis Hunter.
I think we're not sure.
Well, it's 5.5 wins from Vegas. That's not encouraging.
Well, I mean, we'll see. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Yes,
I mean, at what point are they? It's not a we'll see this year. You're saying, they could challenge for the Big 12 and make a.
I don't know. I'm just wondering, this could turn into a double feel-good story, not just that Deion Sanders has beaten bladder cancer, which was the news yesterday, but if it turns out that, he's got 2 good quarterback options here, and I'm assuming that Salter's probably going to win the job, the more veteran guy, but if we do end up seeing the young phenom as well, why not? Sorry, EJ, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, we saw last year the Big 12, is pretty much unpredictable coming into a season.
Yeah, Arizona State was picked last.
Yeah, and BYU was also not expected to be a team that was going to be competing for a championship. So that conference, I think I'm throwing Vegas out the window. I don't think that there's really any good feel for what's going to happen year to year. And look, they have one of the best left tackles in Jordan Seaton, maybe in all of college football.
He's still 19, probably.
Right, but look at his PFF grade. He had one of the best PFF grades, and next year he'll probably be a first-round pick as a left tackle. You got Omarion Miller, star receiver. It's not like the cover is completely bare. They have something there. And I think in that Big 12, which we know is a little unpredictable and there's a lot of parity, I don't know what's going to happen really, Colorado. I think the conference is wide open.
I think it's funny. I think that the NFL judged Colorado's competition over the last 2 years as subpar. I think they saw we thought Shedeur was his massive star. And they're like, well, he's beating up on crappy teams. And then when he plays a good defense, it's not the same. So I think this Colorado team was probably overrated by us over the last couple of years. I mean, maybe the whole Big 12 is.
I mean, Travis Hunter still won second overall.
Yeah, but I mean, Shedeur, I think they judged Shedeur as like, well, Shedeur can have huge numbers against Colorado State. He's not doing it in the SEC. You don't think that was part of the judgment on him?
I think the football was part of the judgment, but I think the other stuff was also a bigger part, which was the bad interviews, allegedly, the Deion's shadow. I do think all that stuff mattered.
I think now I'm starting to think, because we're obviously following this Cleveland Browns quarterback competition so closely. Yeah. I'm starting to think we totally didn't understand the football the way the NFL did. I think that they viewed it much differently. I think they thought, okay, this is a mid-conference to small conference guy. It's not small conference, but I think they looked at him like people have looked at Big 12 quarterbacks for years as, he was putting up numbers against bad defenses. I don't think the football was where we thought it was. I'm starting to think that now. I'm like, maybe it wasn't just because everyone's saying he's so far behind Dylan Gabriel, because Dylan Gabriel obviously played much better competition. I never thought about that coming in, but everyone's like, Dylan Gabriel is so much more ready than Shedeur Sanders. Like, how did that happen? We all missed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I look at the top three, no doubt, quarterbacks in the league, and one played in the Big 12 in Mahomes, and obviously Josh Allen played at Wyoming, and Lamar Jackson played at Louisville. So what do we really know about judging quarterbacks coming out of whatever conference they come out of, right?
Well, I mean, Mahomes went 10, Josh Allen went 7, and Jackson went 31, which is
all mistakes, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, huge mistakes.
Right, but Shedeur Sanders went in the 5th round.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, do you think the NFL actually has a real handle? This was like the Mel Kiper rant after Shedeur fell to the 5th round. Like, have teams just been messing this up for a long time?
Well, no, I mean, but then look at the top 10 passers. Almost 8 of them were number 1 overall picks. So it's and they didn't mess up Josh Allen that bad. He fell to 7. I mean, that's not 5th round. That's top 10. That's 2 of the 3 we just mentioned were top 10. If the NFL could go back, Lamar would be number 3 in that draft. So I don't think they're messing up so bad. I mean, how many non-first round quarterbacks are there in the NFL right now?
Well, probably not that many,
yeah.
Only a handful. But at the same time, how many quarterbacks do we end up seeing over the course of a year, right? Because the backups become incredibly important because the season's so long, the sport's so brutal that we need so many quarterbacks, and so you're gonna, they're going to come from all over the place. You're just trying to get the talented guy.
I mean, the truth is, too, the NFL's gotten way better at this, right? Because there were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round 2 years ago, and it looks like at least 4 are going to be hits.
Yeah, that may just be an outlier draft, too, of how incredible that, the fact that Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy went as high as they did.
I don't think it's an outlier.
They were not talked about that.
I'm not sure it's an outlier. I think that's the trend, right? Like they're getting better at this. The hit rate keeps going up and up and up because we get to see a lot of these guys with the transfer portal. Yeah. We're looking at Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier. They're all 24 years old. We've seen a lot of tape. I feel like NFL is getting better at that. And I do think that they did not judge football the way I think the media was way off on Shedeur's football acumen.
Yeah, now we're just, we're kind of getting away from Deion here and more talking about now quarterbacks. And obviously the story is Deion Sanders said yesterday that he has had bladder cancer. He's completely cancer-free. He's still recovering, though, from the effects of it. I guess
it's not totally away from Deion because it's about Colorado. It's about who is that program. Was it all hype and bluster? And now I can't believe you guys are talking about the Big 12 title. Like, let's get him to a bowl game now and be thrilled about this, right? Like, if you put that Big 12 title out there, then you're going to be disappointed if he doesn't do it.
Well, I think to EJ's point, it's how many games was Arizona State picked to win last year by Vegas? Probably not many, and they won the league. So it's a tough conference, I think, to predict. Maybe I think the SEC, the ACC may be a little bit easier to figure out who the elite teams are as opposed to the Big 12. And I think that's what people like about that specific conference. But, for every Joe Burrow goes number 1 overall and it's a no-doubter, you also get like an Anthony Richardson who went, top 4, and he looks like he's going to be maybe a wash. So I don't know. Are they getting better at it, the NFL, at evaluating quarterbacks? Maybe, but there's still a lot of swings and misses.
Look at how many first-round quarterbacks are killing it right now.
Yeah, look how many Zach Wilsons there are. I mean, I can give you one for every tit for tat, right? I can give you a guy who didn't make it, too, a Trey Lance. I mean, sorry, 49er fans, but...
Well, back to the original point. I do think, and you're not getting me off of this. I think the media and the public did not view Shedeur Sanders football-wise the same way that the NFL did. And I think the same thing is for Colorado. I think Colorado is most likely going to fight to make a bowl game, and that should be good. But since it's Deion, there's going to be expectations. Even in this state, everyone's going to be like, well, they still got Deion. Like, they should be competing for a title. So it's interesting to me. If they're not great, are we going to go like we do as a sports nation? Are we going to judge him for wins and losses? Or are we going to be like, this is a great feel-good story? I think it's TBD.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let us know what you think about this topic. And luckily and thankfully, a good ending here for Deion, that he's now cancer-free. Coming up, we got a lot of news yesterday. You mentioned the passing of Ryan Sandberg. We'll get into that and what he means to the city of Chicago. We've got a cover story in Men's Health about Luka Doncic. What a glow-up. Turns out he's in Slovenia, all trimmed down. Is it a revenge bot or is it a new way of life? We've got so many things for you on this very busy Tuesday. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. I'm buying a Colorado Buffaloes hat. I'm Team Deion now, except that I'm perfectly happy with a 7-5 season and some bowl game. I didn't even consider that they could still win the Big 12 because they just lost their quarterback and their best defensive player and best offensive player, who is the same person. So yeah. I think they have a young star quarterback, so I'm fine. All I just want to see now is Deion to be competitive. All the hype and the expectations of the last couple of years to me have now disappeared. I think it'd be incredible just to see him win. Maggie, you do point out the Big 12 is unpredictable, so you never know. But listen, just the fact that he's going to be out there is a huge win.
Yeah, yesterday Deion Sanders announced that he had bladder cancer, but he's cancer-free now, still dealing with the effects of bladder cancer, which seem pretty awful, yet he's making light of it and putting a positive spin, a positive face on everything, and imploring people to go get tested and get checked out, because obviously early detection on something like that is going to be life-saving. But, we talked about this even long before we knew what was going on with Deion. We knew he was dealing with some kind of health issue, and that took him away from spring practices and stuff. We had this conversation about, has he already, proved the point, right? Does he actually have anything else to prove on the coaching side? And I think we kind of disagreed, either no, he doesn't. He got Shador and Travis Hunter are now off to the NFL, Shiloh even, onto the Tampa Bay Bucks as an undrafted free agent. But if he could do this and coach and have a successful season by whatever metric that is, without Shador, without Travis Hunter, man, wouldn't that be something? I kind of think now, in light of all of his health issues and then the latest issue with the bladder cancer, I think you just have to say everything is gravy on top of this,
right? Yeah, that's exactly. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. It's all good. And
he had already proven the point. You can jump from the FCS level to the FBS level, go to a Power 4 conference, and you're challenged. Within 2 years, you're one win away from winning the league, which he was right there at the end. So I think it is just all cherry on top now. 888-710-4ISN. Andrew Bogusch is here. What a heck of a news day yesterday.
Yeah, all the headlines are sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. The tragedy here in Manhattan yesterday evening, very much tying into sports. As we know by now, the mass shooting occurred in the building and outside it that houses the NFL. And one league employee was seriously wounded in the attack. Thankfully, he is in stable condition, according to a memo that Roger Goodell sent to league employees last night. There are also reports that the shooter had a note on him, at least partially explaining his motives, and that included criticism of the NFL for its handling of CTE. Shifting into the norm now, Cowboys left tackle Tyler Guyton suffered a fracture in his right knee during practice yesterday. That's good news because the initial fear was a torn ACL. Guyton does not need surgery and is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. And the Broncos have signed wideout Courtland Sutton to a 4-year extension through 2029. He's now guaranteed $41 million. The Chicago Cubs and the rest of baseball mourning the loss of Hall of Fame second baseman Ryne Sandberg, just 65 years old. Sandberg announced a prostate cancer diagnosis back in January 2024, eventually declared himself cancer-free, but then told us back in December the disease returned and spread. Cubs manager Craig Counsell.
He was probably living at a higher level than the rest of us. That's what he was known for. That's what made him special. And that's why people like that make you better. They make you better people.
Council's team also playing an important series in Milwaukee. The two teams beginning it tied atop the NL Central.
The 1-1. Yelich drills it deep into right. This is way back. Tucker looking. Track, wall, top of the wall. It's gone. It went over. Oh my, Yelich, a 2-run home run off the yellow and into the Cubs bullpen.
That was the finishing touch on an 8-4 Brewer win, so they have the division lead for the moment. Shohei Ohtani, a tie-breaking 2-run double, top 5 in the Dodgers' 5-2 win in Cincinnati. The Rays got a 4-2 win at Yankee Stadium, and Arizona lost in Detroit 5-1. They also saw Eugenio Suarez take a pitch off his right hand in the 9th inning. Suarez is likely to be traded before Thursday's deadline. X-rays were negative, but more testing coming for him today.
I thought that'd be like just the irony. The guy's like the number one, trade bait, and he could really there's 5 teams that want him. Could really bring back a nice haul here, and if he had broken his hand 2 days before the trade deadline.
But this whole trade deadline feels like a disaster, right? Because you have Clase, Suarez, and the guy that I know our teams both wanted re-signed.
Seth Lugo. With the Royals,
so what's happening here? And I blame you, Bogusch, because you give me these updates.
Yeah, no, that's definitely my fault. But yeah, Lugo staying. Clase now can't be traded. And maybe Suarez can't be either.
Is that what they're saying?
No, just like I think there are things that X-rays don't see that MRIs do, so I think you need to wait for today to make sure that he is healthy enough to be traded by Thursday.
Did you hear the sound of that ball made when it made contact on his hand? It was harrowing.
Did it sound like breaking bones?
It sounded like it hit his bat. That's how loud of a crack it sounded. I thought he broke his hand, but evidently not, according to the X-rays.
He dodged a bullet there. That's crazy. The other part, and it's all such a variety of reasons, right? Like Emmanuel Clase, which got caught up in a gambling scandal of which he has not been cleared yet. He is now on the, non-disciplinary paid leave, basically.
Yes, getting paid, not in trouble yet list.
Yeah, the not in trouble, but you better lawyer up, because why would there be weird gambling activity on 2 random pitches that you threw where people could bet whether it was a ball or strike?
Well,
that's the strike zone by $1 million.
That's the other guy. We don't know We don't know Clase. We assume it's the same thing, but the other guy, there were 2 particular. The other Guardian.
Oh, I thought that was Ortiz. Okay.
We know that there were 2 particular pitches that triggered the betting.
The alarms went off.
Yes.
Yeah, in New Jersey and New York.
Yeah, people have gone back now and found strangely bad ball ones from Clase, and I guess I don't know what the verbiage that StatCast uses, but his worst pitches are ball 1. Like he doesn't miss as badly with the other pitches, but the first one misses badly sometimes. So the assumption is this was the same thing, but the 2-pitch thing is about Ortiz, the first Guardian guy that got suspended.
He looks like Carl Lewis throwing out the first pitch on the one pitch. I keep seeing on the internet. It bounces about 9 feet in front of the plate.
Gotta leave no doubt, Pearl.
One's a Bob Uecker, like just a bit outside. One's a catcher's reaching up atop his head. Yeah.
Right. He took out a mascot on one of them. If you have a guy who you want to trade, you got to shut him down now after this. Like, I'm looking at the top trade candidates. Like, you got to, if you're on a team that's struggling, just hide your stars, right? You can't. If this guy hit his hand, it feels like there's something going on with the trade deadline right now, Maggie. I feel like it's cursed.
Yeah, maybe. And of course, there's the great irony that Seth Lugo, of course, would be coming back to the Mets as a starter when he only begged to be a starter for years and years through multiple GMs, multiple managers. Please make me a starter, make me a starter. Wouldn't do it, didn't want to pay him. Obviously, starter money, goes to Kansas City, becomes a starter. Now they want him back. I'm glad he's not coming back, to be honest.
What?
I get it. I know, it's a different owner now. I understand. But, like, that was so demoralizing what that franchise put him through for years and years and years.
I mean, I get that, but it doesn't mean I don't want him back. Like, that's water under the bridge.
I don't think it's a feel-good story for him.
I mean, you want to keep playing for the Royals?
I don't know. They made the playoffs last year.
Apparently he does.
They might beat the Yankees this year if they saw him again in the playoffs.
I know. You got Bobby Witt and not a lot else. I don't know. Good for him. I'm happy he's getting paid. I'm happy he's starting. He's become a starter. I'm happy for him. I liked him as a Met. But, yeah, I would love to have him back as a Met. That would have been great.
They don't deserve him.
Ain't going to happen now.
No. Back to you, Bogusch.
Last thing for me, WNBA action. Paige Beckers and Arike Gumbawala each scored 20. The Wings held off the Liberty last night in Dallas, 92-82. Back to you guys.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Let's go to Dan. He's in Rochester, wants to talk about Deion Sanders. Got the news yesterday that he was dealing with bladder cancer, but he is now cancer-free. Thank you to his phenomenal doctors and a good positive attitude. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show for a moment. You guys have educated me in sports a lot more than I have been in the past. So I appreciate you guys. I just wanted to comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to comment. Bladder cancer is a very common cancer for adult men. I've been through 5 surgeries and chemos, 6 chemos following each surgery. And it really wasn't something I was willing to talk about because there's a lot of worse cancers. Not that cancer's an easy thing. I also had colon cancer and part of my intestines removed.
Oh, man.
But I'm cancer-free. I know it sounds terrible. I'm cancer-free. I'm in health. I just, I know it's a high-profile guy, but I don't think I think maybe he was looking for a little bit of sympathy. There's a lot of men that have had, but hey, God bless him. I'm glad he's free of cancer, and I love you guys. Thanks a lot for putting me on.
Dan, thanks, and glad that you've made it through your struggles, and that you come out on the other side of it. I'm sure it's not easy every day, but to be cancer-free is that's the hope, right? And you deal with all the other fallout after that. I think what is going to be interesting, Pearl, is obviously he's going to continue living his life, which is fantastic. But being a college football coach at any level is not easy. It takes such a huge dedication, commitment. It's physically taxing on you. I mean, he's standing on the sidelines with 2 amputated toes and dealing with the blood clots. Some of these games last 4 hours. It's not easy. And so curious sort of how this brutal schedule is going to take its toll.
I mean, you're right. But, I mean, Joe Pa and Bobby Bowden coached till they were 80 and were physically able to do it.
Well, at the end, Joe Pa was up in the booth, right? I mean, that was at the very end.
I'm not sure you need. I'm looking. I think physically, Deion is obviously one of the greatest athletes of all time. I think he can handle it physically. He's handled so much physically. I'm not really worried about that. I do think you bring up a good point, like all the energy in the offseason. It seems like he learned to delegate this offseason in a major way because we haven't heard like the Colorado recruitments have all been disrupted. He's been completely out of the picture. As you mentioned earlier in the week, he doesn't go to high schools. So
that's what he said. Yeah.
Right. It's a different recruiting system there. You could have a figurehead there. I think like it sounds like he has said, everybody here help me. And that's a good thing, right? I can imagine there's certain coaches who still try to micromanage everything. It seems like Deion's let go in a major way and said, I know he disappeared from the job for a while too. Now we know why. So I think Deion can figure out a system to do this. But you do, 4 hours. I was always worried about his legs.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought actually that, oh God, is he going to lose his whole leg because of these circulatory problems? But yeah, I think physically he's going to be okay. I just think you do bring up a good point. Is he going to have the energy to do this? Is he going to, and if they're not really a contender, which is very possible, of course, it's Colorado football, is he going to stay interested? I don't know. I don't know what the future is.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And as you heard from Age Bogusch there, Deion, just one of the crazy news stories that happened yesterday. His with a positive ending. What happened in New York yesterday was just so awful. And we'll get to even more, including some big sports stories that you have to know about. Who is gearing up for perhaps the season of their life? Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back to the Maggie Perloff show. Lots of news happening yesterday. Forget the dog days of summer. Lots of news happening, and not all of it great. You had some on the positive side, which is Deion Sanders cancer-free, so that's, good thing. He had bladder cancer, but still dealing with the effects of it, but he is cancer-free. But then we had the sad news that Ryne Sandberg passed away, Pearl. He had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, had overcome that, and then unfortunately it had returned and it spread. That got announced in January, and now here we are. It's almost August, and he passed away yesterday, sadly, way too young. And, Rhino is funny because, I was too young, a little too young to remember, but I think he's somebody who not only was obviously a Hall of Fame second baseman and kind of revolutionized the sport in a way because he brought power to second base, which had never really been a thing before. Not only was a great defensive player also, but he's somebody I think who got national acclaim because the Cubs were on national TV coast to coast. And I think he got, he would have been a big deal no matter what. But even outside of Chicago, he became a big deal because of that.
He had a little bit of an Ernie Banks vibe, though, in the sense the team never won when he was there.
Yeah,
he
at least made the playoffs, though.
He was the good player on the team that never won, I think. And also, he's part of the worst trade in MLB history with my Phillies. It's famous as there was a string of bad. Every franchise has their worst trade.
Oh, yeah.
The one that the Phillies fans always regret was Phillies traded Ryne Sandberg, who was a prospect who was blocked from second base and third base by Manny Trio and Mike Schmidt. I'm just reading. And they traded for Ivan De Jesus, who was okay, but I guess there were a lot of rumors he lied about his age. So,
oh, no.
So Ivan De Jesus was not the young up-and-coming shortstop the Phillies thought, and he quickly faded out. And Ryne Sandberg became a Hall of Famer who would have looked great because then the Phillies hit a huge slump, and Ryne Sandberg was killing it. Yeah, I know you're a Mets fan, so you guys have a whole long list of those.
No,
probably.
yeah, we need a top
but
10.
Sandberg, you're right. Sandberg was like 100% approval guy, too. Like, nobody had a problem with Ryne Sandberg.
No, and, it's funny. We were doing this Mount Olympus project all throughout the end of June and July, and I think, Ernie Banks made both of ours, right?
Yeah, I think so. Mr. Cub.
And we put Mr. Cub there. Ryne Sandberg could have easily been on there as well.
If
still
you're going
cut
to do
a huge figure in Chicago, was around the team a lot, doing the broadcasts at times, pregame, postgame. I mean, he could have easily been on that Mount Olympus.
Yeah, I think the real reason he wasn't because that team went 106 whatever years without a title. So if he had won a title, Ernie Banks had to do a lot. He had incredible success. When you don't win, it's hard to make a Mount Olympus. So I think that's ultimately why we own Bears and Bulls. What was that guy that we both put on for Chicago? For
who, Michael Jordan?
Oh yeah, Michael Jordan, right.
Bills in Houston. I'm like, is that who you were talking about? Bill, good morning. How are you?
Doing great.
We're good.
My college days, and then when I was in the military, it was WTBS and WGN, so we always watched the Cubs. And, Ryne Sandberg, he was right out of central casting, looked perfect on a baseball field, great fielder. But then being from Houston, Craig Biggio came along, and they couldn't be more different. He was dirty and scrappy, but they did both between them. And, man, what a great era of baseball. And that's all I have to say.
Bill, thanks for sharing that memory. And, very different, than Biggio for sure. And, you're right. I think someone with like that 100% approval rating, if he was a guy who, and you could hear it, when he would talk about later on in his life, you never showboating, right? That was like his big thing. You hit a home run, you drop the bat, you drop your head, you run around the bases. You don't show people up, you don't show out. And it was funny because I like the personality in the game. I think if you hit a home run, you should be able to moonwalk to first and do cartwheels to second. I'm all about that. But I obviously can appreciate the guys who felt like they wanted to be way understated and just let their game do the talking.
Yeah. My favorite celebrations are Calvin Johnson, who quietly handed the ball to the official who was the baddest player ever, and Barry Sanders, who was like, would do everything, let your play do the talking. That's more my style, and I know that sounds old-fashioned. By the way, I'm looking at a rank of all-time second basemen. Ryan Sandberg and Craig Biggio seem to be tied together.
Yep.
A couple of rankings right about the same level. Robbie Alomar is ahead of both of them probably, just by a little bit, but they redefined the position. And I agree with that call. Like Biggio, and I don't review Biggio at all like I view Ryan. Ryan Sandberg seemed like a gentleman, where you're right, Biggio is a whole whirlwind. Like he was a catcher turned second baseman. So I like that comparison that the caller made.
By the way, great nickname, Rhino.
Rhino.
Yeah.
Could be in our nickname bracket.
Yeah.
Is that a miss?
I always love that name.
No, it's just adding an O where an E was.
Yeah, but it's a cool nickname. No, I mean, as a kid, I didn't get to watch Ryan Sandberg play because I was kind of too young by the time he retired, basically, when I got into baseball. But when they would talk about him, they'd be like, the Rhino Sandberg. I'm like, that's a cool nickname.
I know.
Maybe because I'm a Spider-Man fan, I think of Rhino, the villain, super villain Rhino, but I just thought always thought that was a cool nickname.
888-710-4ISN. We didn't have
Bro.
Rhino
Me
on there.
too.
We also don't have Mr. Cub on there.
No, it's hard to crack a 64 bracket. It's
I
like
know.
I know people get upset about how did this get in there. I'm like, all right, you find one to take out. All these nicknames are iconic on this list.
Mr. Cub. That's not like a great nickname. That's not like the fridge.
I don't know. We had Mr. Hockey on there. Of
We
course
had,
we had Gordie Howe.
Yeah,
but there are a
16th
lot of
seed.
Mr. and name the team though. And Mr. Cub may be the most famous. But was Mr. Marlin going to make it on there?
Jeff Conine?
Jeff Conine.
We all know it.
How about Marlon's man? The guy who sits behind home plate.
That guy's the worst.
He's everywhere. He always wearing that bright orange.
Get a New Jersey, man.
I think he needs it to pop on TV. I don't really know what that guy's deal is. I've never really cared to know.
He definitely wants you to know.
I know. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Stop trying so hard.
I remember I sat behind home plate once, and he was like, I was probably within like 50 feet of him, and I was just like, oh,
Could be
this
worse.
guy.
Could be that ball hawker. I forgot what his name is. That dude's the worst.
Who's always trying to catch those really
The
meaningful home
yeah,
run
the
balls.
home run,
I forgot
yeah.
his name too. At least he's got a skill.
Zach Campbell.
Yes. He actually has to do something. Like Marlins man he's a doctor, I think. I actually do know a little about him. He's a doctor and he's got a lot of money and he pays a ton of money to have these premium seats at baseball
At least
games.
he's not trucking little kids just to grab a fly ball.
Well,
That
I mean,
is true.
Manny, you know when to talk. You had those dudes defending the wall at Yankee Stadium.
Those dudes are clowns.
Those are the worst of the
Oh
worst.
my gosh,
That's the
remember
World
those
Series.
guys?
That's the World Series, yeah.
Yeah.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Remember those
Idiots,
two?
morons.
We're going to defend the wall.
Wait a minute. I forgot about those two guys. Was that the infamous fifth inning? It was the same game, right? No, it was earlier in the series.
I've thrown that out of my memory, but
They
I remember
ripped the ball out of Mookie Betts'
Well,
glove,
they tried
right?
to. They weren't strong enough because they're morons.
They opened his glove and pulled the ball out.
Yeah, and they didn't even do it successfully, you morons. And you guys got thrown out of Yankee Stadium. Can't go back to Yankee Stadium. Got thrown out in the World Series, and you didn't even get the ball to pop out of Mookie Betts' glove. Way to go.
And also, it goes down as an all-time World Series loss for you guys. Like,
yeah, thanks, Mags.
I'm sorry.
Appreciate that one.
I mean, I'm just calling it like it is.
Is it totally wrong that I kind of like those guys?
You should not like those guys.
As a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and believe me, we would do anything we could to intimidate the other team. I like this. No, the actuality, you do not touch an athlete. Like that's way out of line. But I like trying to like intimidate the other team. If they had just kept to themselves and been like yelled at the guy, that would have been okay.
Also,
yelled polite things.
I also think it was ridiculous that like they thought this was gonna work. Like we wouldn't have replay to show that they ripped the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove. Like what did they expect was gonna happen?
Or the fact that they felt like they could just sit there the rest of the game. Like, oh, my bad. I won't do it again.
Well,
it's like, no, you're out of here.
Remember, they said they were going to come back.
Yes.
And the Yankees had to come out and say, oh, no, we're not allowing them to come back. They're like, oh, yeah, they said that it's okay, you got to leave, but you can come back tomorrow for game 4. And I was like, what?
I'm a season ticket holder. It's like, not anymore, you're not. I'm sorry, your quarter season package has now been released. It's Austin Copabianco and John P. Hansen.
That's baseball.
Yeah.
But I think
Not
if
really.
they didn't get caught on camera, the Yankees would have welcomed them back in. I think that was like, everyone's mad at us. You guys are banned.
No,
Sorry.
but it didn't work. So it's not even like a Jeffrey Mayer type thing. Like that actually worked against the Baltimore
that
Orioles.
kid is a hero.
All those years ago. Yeah, that kid can't buy a drink in the Bronx. But
There it goes again. Oh, my goodness.
But the Yankees had to go on and win the World Series that year. This one, everyone wants to forget how bad this was against the Dodgers.
I think most people hate like celebrity-ish fans. Like, and I'm not even talking about the Spike Lees, but like the, Clipper Darrell and
People hate Spike Lee.
Marlins Man.
What's that Jets dude's name?
Yeah, Fireman Ed. I think those folks, I don't think they have high approval ratings, even amongst their own team's fans.
Oh, the Eagles guy with the mohawk who we see at Fanatics Fest every year?
I took a photo with him.
He's well liked.
Yeah, he is liked. I agree.
Raptor superfan, also very well liked.
People like that guy.
Drake doesn't like that guy.
Sits behind the back at stage. Of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't.
I thought you met Drake.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Things got heated between one of baseball's biggest stars and the MLB commissioner. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Pearl, your boy, Bryce Harper, the two-time NL MVP, going nose to nose like it's a manager and an umpire out there arguing balls and strikes. They went nose to nose, reportedly, in a closed-door meeting in the clubhouse in Philadelphia. Rob Manfred has been making the rounds, trying to get a better relationship with the players, apparently, and trying to talk about some of the potential issues that's going to happen with it certainly looks like labor strife that's going to be happening at the end of next year when their collective bargaining agreement expires in December of 2026. If Rob Manfred's looking for a better relationship with the players, I don't think this is going to do it. Getting cursed out by Bryce Harper when Rob Manfred even dared to bring up something resembling a salary cap. Harper told him to get the bleep out of here, and Manfred stood his ground and said, "I will not get out of here," and now we all know about it. Yeah,
Bryce Harper brought out the Utica in Rob Manfred. I mean, I think if you're choosing sides here, how can you not choose Bryce Harper? First of all, Rob Manfred is still, he's on a bit of a heater, right? And his approval rating as a commissioner is still down, and nobody likes Rob Manfred. Let's face it. Nobody's
People
ever
like the changes, though, that he's brought to baseball.
But I mean, Rob Manfred has never been an easy sort of representative of Major League Baseball. I feel like
he's got a bristly, hard edge cutting demeanor.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, everybody's been booing Bettman for years in the NHL, Gary Bettman, but they've accepted him as a commissioner. But Roger Goodell, people love booing Roger Goodell. Goodell's almost become somewhat likable by being so dislikable. But Manfred just is exactly prickly. So I think it's easy. If you're choosing sides here, you have to choose the players. Now, I don't quite understand the economics of it because I see guys signing for $700 million, and I'm scratching my head. I'm like,
how about $765?
Yeah, is there a baseball player adding $765 million to the American economy? That is weird to me. But generally, I think as a fan, you always should err with the players over the owners because we know the owners are,
Yeah, come on.
I mean, exactly.
Who's rooting for
Goliath
how
can you root for those? If he's making that much money, for example, Soto, what is the owner of the Mets making?
Well, we know Steve Cohen is one of the richest owners in all professional sports, also paid one of the biggest fines to the SEC, not the Southeast Conference, the Security and Exchange Commission, for insider trading to avoid jail time. Listen, it's hard to root for owners, but there are good owners in sports. I'm not saying that good owners don't exist. I don't think that's an oxymoron. You have, owners that spend on their teams, that make it a good fan experience, and make your team, an actual contender. Like, that's all you want, right, as a fan. But they're going to, but as far as between the players and the owners, you got to side with the players on this one. Now, here's where we're asking if Bryce Harper, you hear this story about him going nose to nose with Manfred. Is he more of a hero or more of a clown? Which is funny because he's like the guy with the clown question, bro.
That's a clown question, bro.
So here's my one thing about Bryce Harper about this. You want to take on the commissioner behind closed doors. I don't think he thought this was going to leak out. It did. He wants to do this. He's not going to be public about it. You can also leave this to the union leadership. Okay, the baseball union is one of the strongest, by virtue of the fact they do not have a salary cap, right? And players, they've always been thought of as the strongest union of all professional sports. Clearly, you have people on that side that know what they're doing. This is not the NFLPA, which has descended into chaos, where we know that the interim executive director was out at strip clubs and all of that and had conflicts of interest and all this really embarrassing stuff. The baseball union, while not perfect by any stretch, still enjoys this very, elevated status, and they are a strong union. Does Bryce Harper need to go nose to nose with the commissioner? I mean, you can just let the people in charge handle this thing. And they've kept, a salary cap out of baseball. I don't know if you need to get contentious with the commissioner.
But how does this hurt their cause, though? I mean, if anything, I think it does feel like, by the way, this is the first sort of swing, even though no one took a swing, we're headed towards some kind of labor issue.
Was that
like
a pun?
A big labor issue. Not on purpose.
Okay.
But now that you mentioned it, I feel like we are headed towards a problem here.
Major
so I'm not
problem.
sure. I mean, listen, you say it's a strong labor union, but they almost killed the sport in the mid-'90s by missing an entire season and a World Series. Or missing a World Series. So it's strong, but it's come at a huge, huge cost to the sport. I think you could absolutely track the decline in baseball in America to that strike.
Yeah, but I think if you had Tom Glavine here, who was like a really big part of the players union at that time, he would say, don't blame us. Like, it takes, baseball itself almost killed the sport, not the players. They're the ones who were unfairly painted as the villains, which he's, to this day, you could ask Tom Glavine, doesn't understand why the public did not side with the players.
Right, but that's why Bryce Harper should get in Rob Manfred's face. Like, there's no downside to this for the players. Like, I understand, like, maybe that's not his place, but how is this going to hurt their cause?
I don't know if it's going to hurt it. I just don't know if you needed it. Now, this is the other part of it that we know, at least lately. I don't know about going back to 94, although he was around then, so he could have had a big say. But Scott Boras is a huge part of all of this. Okay, so Scott Boras, who is Bryce Harper's agent, Pearl, you remember was Max Scherzer's agent when Scherzer was really out in front, the last labor negotiation. Scott Boras is in some ways kind of a secret weapon, not so secret weapon that the players have, where he has some of those high profile clients. And obviously Scott Boras wants his clients to get every dollar. That's what he's known for. So Scott Boras, I do think, wields a lot of power here on the players' side and gives a lot of advice and a lot of guidance. And Rob Manfred is going into these different clubhouses not to talk to the Bryce Harpers of the world. If you get $330 million contract, that's not who Rob Manfred is trying to talk to. He's trying to talk to the rank and file. He's trying to talk to and get their message across that a salary cap will give you $500,000 extra dollars, will give you $1 million extra dollars. Guys who are trying to make a couple million that's going to last them the rest of their life. Bryce Harper is an outlier. Garrett Cole is an outlier. Max Scherzer is an outlier. It's the rank and file that he's trying to get a hold of to sway their votes. And I don't know if Bryce Harper getting in Manfred's face makes a rank and file union member.
That's a clown question, bro.
If it helps at all. I don't know if it does.
I think the union kind of feels like everybody should be helped. If the high-end guys get a lot of money, that means the lower-end guys will also get more money. If you start, I've actually heard a lot of union people say this. If you start cutting into the high-end salaries, what'll end up happening is you'll start cutting into the low-end salaries too, and it's a way owners can be cheap. Again, some of these economics are well beyond my thing. But let's all be honest about what's really going on here.
What's really going on?
If it was a Mets star who was doing this,
what?
You hate the Phillies.
Oh, no, it has nothing to do with that.
Oh, yes, it does.
I think maybe Bryce Harper is the wrong messenger here.
You've always been down on Bryce Harper.
I don't know. Perloff is making some salient points over here.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Has this turned into an anti-Harper take? If you have those Pete Alonso, I mean, it'd be a little out of character. But
I'd hope you'd be all about it, as you should be all about it. If Bryce Harper, my guy, Bryce Harper, gets in the face of Rob Manfred, I have to support Team Harper.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. Do you have to make it that contentious? It's already going to be contentious. So do you have to get up in his face and tell him to get the bleep out of here? Like, maybe that's speaking Manfred's language, but you know what? Like, Manfred's not going to back down, and he didn't in that moment. And what's funny is there's another story that came out that Mark DeRosa, who does a show on MLB Network and also is kind of like a commissioner's right-hand man, if you will, joked around apparently after and said, hey, you guys don't want to tick off the commissioner because, he'll kind of like, he'll get back you like retribution. And DeRosa says he was kidding, but according to the article that I read on The Athletic, people did not think he was kidding, and it felt more like a threat. I mean, this thing is not going well.
No. Don't try and obfuscate here, Maggie. You can't admit a bias against Bryce Harper and the Phillies. You cannot sit here right on mic right now and admit that you view everything differently because you don't like the Phillies.
I don't care. If it could have been Garrett Cole, Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, I don't care who it is. I don't know if the guys who are making the most money are actually the right people to send the message here.
It is so Philadelphia to think that everybody's against them all the time.
I saw your tweet, EJ. Come on, you're as predictable as Maggie.
I think he looked like a jackass.
Oh, come on. If Jalen Brunson did this in the NBA,
I think Jalen Brunson looked like a jackass.
Oh,
I really do.
God.
Like, I mean, you want me to put a lie detector? You want me to do a telegraph? I don't know what you want me to say. I think he looked like a jackass.
I would have said this if, by the way, Bryce Harper doesn't just play for the Phillies. He played for the Nationals also and won a World Series with them. So
another division rival, the Mets.
Yeah, but it's like it's not about that.
It really isn't to me. Like, look, like Rob Manfred is 66 years old. If I saw a 30-year-old guy in the prime of his athletic, peak life step into a 66-year-old guy in the street, I'd say, hey, man, what are you doing? Back up. Like, whatever your beef is, it should not come to this.
Yeah, but Rob Manfred has got a very salty demeanor.
And to me, it doesn't.
Sometimes you're asking for the smoke, you're going to get it. I mean, you can't to go into. Listen, I don't think that Harper. I think you could have just left this to the union people, to handle it. But Rob Manfred walking into an MLB clubhouse and even floating salary cap, you ask for the smoke, you're going to get it.
Right, but he didn't. Well, he didn't say the word salary cap.
He implied it.
Harper jumped the gun and went and said, "If this is what you're suggesting, to get out of here." Again, he could have made those points without getting in Rob Manfred's face. He looked clownish to me, and it sucks because you listen to this show. I'm 95% player owns all situations.
Yeah, we're a pro-labor outfit.
I read this, and I was like, that seems weird. And I'm seeing the reactions. I'm like, wow, everyone seems to support this. Let me go to sleep, and maybe I'll think of this differently. Then I woke up, and I'm seeing the report again. I'm like, this still looks weird to me. Why are you stepping to a senior citizen? What are you doing?
Let me ask you guys both this question, though. Totally. What was your general approval rating of Bryce Harper come before you read this story?
I don't have any beef with Bryce Harper. I don't.
Are you a fan?
I mean, he's a Philly, so I'm not a fan of him, but that doesn't matter to me. You can find I don't have any tweets or anything talking about Bryce Harper in a negative way. I don't.
15% approval rating for me.
But what about Manfred's approval rating? I
0.
think see, I think
I'm not a fan of him.
That's the bigger thing here.
What's less than 0?
It's going to be, if it's between Manfred and Bryce Harper, I think people are going to line up behind Bryce Harper 100 times out of 100. The problem is again, I don't know if Bryce Harper, Garrett Cole, Juan Soto, and all these guys who are making huge, huge money, are they the right guys to be sending the message to the rank and file of the union about this is what is going to be better for the sport?
I also think this story is a much bigger deal because it's Bryce Harper, one of the sport's top 10 guys.
Right, I was kind of bummed, not to cut you off, I was a little bummed that he said, I'm not going to be speaking publicly about this. And I get, handle it behind closed doors, but if you're going to make that statement and you want to be out there about this and you feel strongly about it, be the public face of it, right? You'll get a ton of attention.
Who, Bryce Harper?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I definitely only support this because he's a Philly. And you guys should support him, Matt, if he does this. Where's your fandom? Of course, just say it.
How is this
just
about?
Say it.
Say it. No, but Pearl, how is this about any particular one player or one team? We're talking about the whole sport. So whether
These are humans.
If it was Salvador Perez, what does it matter about who the messenger is? I think it matters because he's one of the 1%ers That it's just about how much he's making. But if it was Manny Machado doing it, I wouldn't. I'd probably feel the same way.
I mean, I'm kind of just giving you a hard time for the sake of giving you a hard time here because it is a Philly. But Bryce Harper is quite polarizing for many, many reasons. It's not just a normal star player. He's got this sort of out there personality. He gets on TikTok for 45 minutes and makes coconut lattes. And he's, he just talks a lot of trash. And there's something about Bryce Harper that either you love him or you hate him. That's how I've seen Bryce Harper viewed like that through the years. Maybe you guys don't see it like that at all.
You can respect him as a player. He's a great player. He's a 2-time MVP. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. It's not about that. I just don't know if he made anything better by doing this.
And I don't be honest. I mean, yes, the Mets-Phillies rivalry is deep, and he gets booed every time he comes to Citi Field. But I don't see Bryce Harper as this crazy villain. I didn't when he was a national. I don't now. He's an opponent. He's a rival. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who the pariahs are in Major League Baseball. I don't think of Harper. He's extremely close. He's extremely talented and he's nice. I don't know. That's why I look at him. I'm like, this guy is great. I wish he was a Met. But that's really it. I don't look at him. I know he's cantankerous. I know he's flashy, but I like those things about baseball. I always talk about show emotion, show passion, show whatever. So to me, Harper's the kind of guy I would like. So I don't feel that, but I don't know if other Americans do.
Rich is in California. Good morning, Rich. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Does it seem a little odd that Rob Manfred is making the locker room tour of Major League Baseball? And with his personality, it's almost a provocation in which he's basically telling these guys, look, come 2026, we got all the cards.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. And I think, to be perfectly honest with you, Rob Manfred has got no business in a ball player's locker room. As far as Bryce Harper goes, I don't have a whole lot of love for the guy. I'm a Giants fan, okay? But I'm also a retired Teamster, and I can appreciate any guy that gets up in the face of a little popping jay who is literally trying to provoke a problem with a sport that when I was younger, baseball was number one, followed by football. They are now number 3. And the only reason they're not number 4 is nobody particularly is that interested in hockey. So as far as I'm concerned, you go get him, Bryce Harper. But that stuff doesn't need to be done in a locker room.
Yeah. Well, that's Manfred's bad, Rich, and you're right about that. I mean, Manfred, I said the irony of this is he realized a couple of years ago he didn't have a good relationship with the players, so he started going on these, like, listening tours or whatever. But if you're going to, if you're even going to allude to a salary cap, you're not going to make a lot of friends on these listening tours. And then if you have your sidekick, Mark DeRosa, even joke around about, well, now you've angered him, he's going to come back and you've ticked him off now, and now he's going to take out retribution. It's like mafia stuff. I mean, it's not a great look. Can I tell you the other thing that happens on some of these tours? Because, I can't bet my life on this, and I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I'd bet dinner for everybody on the show, including Bogusch.
No, of course, can't forget him.
I wouldn't.
God forbid.
No, and he'd get mad if we did forget him, because we forget him sometimes.
He definitely mentioned it.
Yeah, he would mention it.
He's going to mention the fact that you had to say including Bogusch.
Yes, the running joke on the
Damage
show is that
already done, and whatever is going to happen next.
The moment the Bogusch leaves the room, and we're just like, well, okay. No, that doesn't happen. So can I bet my dinner for everybody that this is what's going on? The commissioners, especially before these labor negotiations, they'll go around and they will try to appeal to the rank and file, right? This is what a salary cap will mean for you. Extra $100,000, extra $500,000, whatever. Meaningful money to somebody not Bryce Harper, okay? What they'll also do is they will start talking to members of the local press and other people around about how players don't know what's going on. They don't even read what's up and what's happening. They behind the scenes, Pearl, they badmouth the players, disorganized, implying that they're not smart enough to understand what's going on. That happens also. I don't know if Rob Manfred has specifically done stuff like that, but I know this does happen in professional sports where they try to get a narrative going that the players have no idea what's going on because they either don't care, they're distracted, or they're not smart enough to figure it out. And it's subterfuge. It can be
baseball, though. I feel like baseball, those guys have nothing better to do. I think that's why we have so many labor unions, because they sit around the clubhouse for 7 hours a day.
I'm just saying that happens where they try to go negative on the players to plant the seed that, like, gosh, half of these guys don't even understand what's going on. They don't even know what they're voting for.
All right. Dinner bet. I'm not sure exactly how you pay that off.
I'm just telling you that's what happened.
Peter Luger's.
Know what baseball should do? They should sell out the rookies like NFL did. Like the NFL.
They don't. They have. There's a draft cap now.
They already done it.
They already did it.
Okay.
There's lottery too.
There's a cap. There's a lottery. There's even the international signing stuff is a little bit wonky, but they put a cap on how much you can make. Like, so Bryce Harper, I think, got $10 million when he was drafted, and I think the next guy in his comparable spot got $6 million. Like, it's yeah.
I have a question. Typically, players get 48, 49, 50% of the revenue. Is baseball not work like that with no cap? I have to dive into this a little bit.
Baseball's got a lot of really interesting wrinkles that are unique to the sport, including how they split the postseason revenue and all of that. It's really, really different.
And I think the more important question is salary cap good for fans because you won't have the Pittsburgh Pirates because you'll have a salary floor too. I'm curious how this plays out. I'm not going to invest in a labor battle here myself personally.
Might cost your dear Bryce Harper Another MVP.
By the way, I got to say right now, and I'll be honest, if it was Kyle Schwarber who came in, I would jump in and beat Rob Manfred right there because I'm such a huge Schwarber fan right now. And the fact that you guys won't admit that it was a Philly that affects your story, I'm very disappointed in you. Very disappointed because I know how much you love baseball. It's okay to hate the Phillies. It's okay to admit Bryce Harper annoys you because he's very annoying. Watch him on TikTok. You will be driven crazy. He does a half-hour facial routine in the morning.
Yeah, because he's just trolling everybody, right? I wonder where Shohei's going to land in this. Where's Shohei going to be?
Oh, that's
somewhere in the back.
Let's go to his interpreter and ask him.
English is not his first language, right? And his first interpreter's in jail. Second interpreter seems to be doing okay.
What happened to the first guy?
Yeah,
you're not going to. You're going to bring Shohei into this after what happened with Ippei?
Listen, I think there are some people who are not happy. I don't know how baseball players feel about this, but you deferred so much money that you really let the Dodgers kind of off the hook on some of this. Like, it's not the Juan Soto contract by any stretch. Like, Juan Soto gets every dollar right at the moment. You know, Shohei deferred it. Great teammate. More people get paid, I guess. And but he also kind of gave the Dodgers a bit of a cheat code there.
Well, right, but he does. I assume he makes so much money marketing because of Japan that he doesn't need any money.
Right, but the other players don't see it. Don't see that. If he's making money in Japan, that's not going into your middle reliever's pocket, not helping him out.
Yeah, but by the way, was it a bad strategy by him to take $700 million deferred, which is worth about $380 in current time? I mean, maybe that's what Bobby Bonilla did. We make fun of the Mets every day,
all the time. I guess I don't know, but I guess the answer would be like you always want your best players to be making the most. That's generally what the unions always say.
Yeah, but that deferred money was worth a lot of money.
Yeah,
almost $400 million.
Yeah, it is, and it allowed other guys to get signed, so you could say maybe it was helping out. But again, it did give the Dodgers a pretty big cheat code there. So I don't know. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I'm not sure how the other players feel about Shohei's contract. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in on that. Do you think Bryce Harper going nose to nose with Rob Manfred, telling him to get the heck out of our locker room if you're going to talk about a salary cap? Does that make him look like a hero or more of a clown?
Get the out of here.
We also have more NFL for you in just moments.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
What's that? This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. This is Maggie Gray with a Sports Minute. Bryce Harper went right at Rob Manfred. Bryce Harper went right after Rob Manfred over talk of a salary cap, nose to nose in the Phillies clubhouse in what was described as a tense scene. In the aftermath, Harper said he'll handle any gripes behind the scenes, but he's someone who should be in front of the camera. The two-time MVP is famous enough to rally fans, and if the public's on his side, the pressure could start to build on MLB when it really counts. I'm Maggie Gray. Luka Doncic's summer glow-up isn't subtle. After getting traded from Dallas, partly because the Mavs didn't trust he'd stay in shape, he's gone all in, fasting, lifting, cutting sugar, and building a private gym in Croatia. Now he's lean, locked in, and running two-a-days with his own training team. So is this Luka's revenge body after the trade or the start of a whole new lifestyle? I'm Maggie Gray.
Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, this portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. EJ, did we put up a poll question? Is Bryce Harper look like a hero or a fool or some version of that? By the way, BC confronted MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred in the locker room.
I can.
I want to see some Bryce Harper love out there because I think he's underappreciated. I love Bryce Harper. Right now, he's my favorite Philly. Well, Schwarber's right there. This guy chose Philadelphia, and I'm going to openly admit I'm now rooting for the players harder because of Bryce Harper.
You should have been rooting for the players long before this.
What do I care? The players are bazillionaires. Why should I be rooting for them?
Well, what are the owners? If the players are bazillionaires, what is the technical term for what the owners make?
I'm not rooting for either of them when it comes to money. I mean, listen, these guys have so much money. They're never going to be able to spend it in a billion years. I know athletes go broke, but not MLB players. Like, how would they possibly go broke? The salaries are... I read these and it's insane. It feels actually almost like almost unlikable how much they're getting paid. Obviously unlikable. Like, does Juan Soto need $700 million?
Who cares? It's not your money. It's Steve Cohen's money.
But I'm not going to root for them in some kind of labor dispute. Like, I would root for... I have a friend who works for a nurses union. That I could root for.
Okay, well, that's a little bit different.
But I'm not going to... No, I'm definitely not investing. I've made the mistake in my career of investing in labor disputes. We should all dislike both sides. That's the only healthy response.
It's just funny to me because obviously the CBA is going to run out, the collective bargaining agreement, in December of 2026. So everyone's getting ready because baseball has a long history of labor strife. But you're not a fan of the draft because you think it artificially caps earning power and player movement. You're not a fan of salary caps. I'm surprised that all of a sudden you just want to, bury your head in the sand about this one when baseball should be what more sports are shooting for, right? Like, why should there be a cap on what LeBron James could make in his prime? Like, he's so valuable to whatever team he's on. He's an entire economy. Why shouldn't he get paid like one?
Well, it's complicated, right? Like, why, you ever look at a monopoly lawsuit, like monopolies are bad, right? They screw up open markets.
Yeah.
But there is sometimes a justifiable reason to have some sort of monopoly. Like, yes, I'm all for market forces determining these salaries. But if the sport can't survive because you have 30 in this case, owners with such disparate spending power.
Well, who says the sport's not surviving?
Well, I'm just saying if you had no structure at all, if you had no CBA and anybody could pay what they want, it'd be more like a barnstorming league and you wouldn't have a real league. Right?
I don't know. You're telling me that the WNBA players should form their own league.
And
they should break from the WNBA.
Yeah, they definitely should. Like, that's what happened. Obviously, like, they need a rival league badly, right? Like the AFL, NFL, USFL, NFL. Nobody at ABA, NBA, they need their ABA, right? They need somebody to pressure the owners. Obviously, is there anyone who does it? They have players getting $68,000 a year.
Right, but
We
why
get
should
14,000 people in the stadium.
Right, but okay, so there's a handful of baseball players that make an exorbitant amount of money, but there's a bunch of other guys who are making like like a mid-level.
Their minimum is crazy. I've seen they're making insane money.
But compared to who? Like
compared to humans.
Well, but not compared to the billionaires who are signing their checks. Like you can't compare. See, that's where baseball and athletes always lose the public. It's because they're like, if I was making $700 million, then obviously I'd just be happy with it and I would just shut up and do my job.
Right.
And that's fine. But
I just don't care one way or the other.
The person writing the checks and signing the checks clearly can stomach $700 million.
That's baseball.
And they can afford to pay lots of people and
Yeah,
lots
yeah.
more. So
But
why
that's
shouldn't the players try to get every dollar?
Why do I have to take a side in this debate?
Well,
Because you're losing baseball. You're losing games.
you
That's
might
why.
end up losing a World Series or something. That'd be the most drastic part.
Yeah,
and then you can't watch your beloved Phillies.
Right.
So I have to pick owners or players?
Yeah.
If you want a solution, then someone has to give. So to me, like unless you're saying I don't really care that I'm losing games or losing a World Series, and that's one thing.
Well, listen, if I see the prices for like hats and jerseys and tickets and the TV cable thing, I'm actually voting with my money to support the sport. And if I decide like, oh, the owners and players are not treating me right here, then I just pull my money away or my interest away, which is more likely to happen.
But I
so
guess,
I
like-
kind of as a fan, like just I'll decide like, listen, the owners and the players aren't doing this right. And if enough people pull out, then the two sides will get together. I don't have to root for one of these two sides.
I guess I would just say that, Bryce Harper making $330 million or Juan Soto making $765 or whatever it is not going to make that hat cheaper. And if there's a salary cap, it's not going to make that hat cheaper. Not like, it's not going to bring down the cost of beer. It's not going to bring down the cost of tickets. All that stuff is a fallacy. It's not going to make it any more palatable for the fan, no matter what the pay structure is.
But I can't even imagine being like, oh man, I can't believe Rob Manfred dared to walk into that locker room and say there should be a salary cap. Come on, I mean, what kind of person would think that way? We all have our own worries. I've never met anybody who's rich enough to even think like an owner or a player. In this case, they're making so much money. I'm not going to feel bad for them.
Let's get to Andrew Bogusch, who's got all the latest of what's going on in a really, really crazy day in sports yesterday.
The Cleveland Guardians missed closer Emmanuel Clase immediately last night.
Here's the pitch from Smith. Swung on, bounced past the first baseman. Base hit into right field. That'll score one, and the Rockies take the lead as Doyle comes across. It is now 6-5 Colorado on Tyler Freeman's go-ahead RBI single.
Cade Smith got the first chance to close for Cleveland and gave up 4 runs, committing a throwing error and hitting a batter along the way. Cleveland gave away a 5-4 lead, losing to the Rockies 8-6. All of this because Clase is now on non-disciplinary paid leave through August 31st as part of an MLB gambling investigation. Cleveland starter Luis Ortiz was put on that same list back on July 3rd, had his stay there extended coming out of the All-Star break. We don't know any details involving Clase yet, but suspicious betting patterns on 2 Ortiz pitches set off alarms, and internet sleuths have found similarly odd pitches from Clase over the last couple of weeks. The Guardians say they believe no other players or staff will be affected by this.
Hey, can I bring up something? So we've had a lot of these types of stories. We're getting more and more, where it seems like not just, some odd betting patterns, but like that the players may be involved themselves, right? Like a Jonte Porter situation or a Malik Beasley situation where it's questionable whether or not these guys may have actually done something to impact the prop bets or what have you. We were told when all the gambling companies came along that this is better because we're going to have like all of these safety nets that's going to set off these alarm bells to be able to catch people like this, and it's going to make the sport even more on the level.
Yeah, who told you that?
The betting company.
Okay.
Right. But that intuitively, that also kind of makes sense, right? Bring everything above board and you have the less things kind of like in the shadows. It just feels like there's a lot of these. And I'm wondering how many of them existed before we had all these watchdog things in place. Like, obviously, your people are still betting illegally with bookmakers and stuff like Ipe Mizrahi, the interpreter for Shohei, who's now in jail.
Yeah, but that's because, I mean, the reason is gambling's exploded since it was legalized, right? Like the amount of gambling that's going on is has increased by multiples of many. It's so much more accessible to everyone. It's right on your phone.
Exactly. But do you feel like, okay, so they were not even, like, were there more of these situations going on? I know there's a history of point shaving scandals and stuff going back to the 50s and 80s, but do you think there were more guys who were throwing wonky pitch? Like,
no, I think this, because gambling is such a bigger part of culture right now. I think there's so many people who gamble who did not gamble before. Yeah, this is definitely tied to legalization, right? Is there any doubt in your mind?
Well,
no, I think are you implying that it was hidden more before?
I'm just implying that if a player, an athlete themselves, was vulnerable to this, would they be just as vulnerable before DraftKings and FanDuel as they are now?
I mean, the Malik Beasley story, if we believe it all, that he was like, had no money and needed to get money back, my guess is that guy has always existed.
Right.
That always needed a way to catch up, get out of a hole, make good on something. And that was always the concern, I think, with all of these rules. Is like, this is why you can't gamble on anything, because I can't have you owing $500,000 to a bookie who then asks you to throw your baseball game. The prop bet thing, that's new. So I don't know that people approached Emmanuel Clase and went, hey man, throw ball one to the second batter. Like, I don't think those bets existed 5 days. Like, it feels like 5 days. So like, that's
you couldn't make those online until recently. Like, the prop bet thing has exploded, right?
Right. I don't think illegal bookies were taking prop bets like that. They were taking like spreads.
Yeah, spreads over under.
Like, you weren't calling, Johnny numbers and going, hey man, the Guardians closer going to throw a ball on strike on his first pitch tonight. What can I get on that? You weren't doing that. So like, that specific thing I think is new, and only because we're legally gambling on things.
But you had other types of prop bets, like Jonte Porter rebounds and stuff.
I had parlays.
Yeah,
but even though, but you can't like stack things with a bookie the same way.
Right.
I imagine. By the way, you know how much money in 2024 they made $13.7 billion in gambling. Gambling's exploded.
Oh, I know.
I mean, everybody I'm looking at on a daily basis can bet on their phone in 2 minutes. So I think it's a massive amount of gambling increases dramatic. And I think it's just the tip of the iceberg too, right? Like, we're going to see many, many more of these situations.
It seems like there's one every day.
You're right, exactly.
Between college and the pros, it feels like we're having these all the time.
And it's a weird like cancellation where we're getting more instances, but like the conviction rate, so to speak, is better. Because my guess would be a lot of people got away with a lot of things for a long time.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
More data,
Now guys are getting pinched for it when they were in the past, but more guys maybe putting themselves in danger because of what's at their fingertips now.
Well,
like, what's better? Have 6 guys doing it nefariously and we never know about it, or having 60 guys do it and 57 of them get caught?
Right.
To Maggie's point, though, you're right. The increased data, like having all the data, doesn't. But when the Arizona State point shaving thing, I watched a documentary on that. The books did know. They almost knew immediately something was wrong. Like, so the Vegas casinos also knew this and got on them pretty fast, right? Like, they lasted like a couple weeks of shaving points.
Like Temple basketball, that was just a recent one.
Well, I'm just saying, back in the day, too, they could catch you pretty easily.
Yeah, right.
I just say, I don't know about this prop bet stuff. Like, I'm even surprised. I'm shocked you can bet on first pitch ball. Like, how much money
can you pitch on every serve in tennis?
How much can you put on that, though?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not much.
So how is Clase and the other Guardians pitcher making money here? Maybe you can put a lot. Like,
I don't think so. They usually cap those props.
Are they making money? Are they doing favors? You don't know. Are they make goods? Like, we don't know what's going on here.
Or is it even something that it could be something where they're in on it, or more nefarious, like someone is threatening their family somewhere else. Like this happened in tennis, right? Where the Russian players were intentionally throwing matches because they were getting threatened.
I mean, NBA players talk all the time how like they will have a bad game and there are people in their DMs being like, I'm going to kill your family or say horrible things. You know, it's definitely a thing that's happening.
And what?
Well, I think Maggie's actually talking about not people in DMs. I think real, like
in
real
Venezuela.
Russian.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm saying that too. But I'm saying even just as simply as NBA players have talked about how what that is weighed in terms of their mental health and their dealing with just being a pro athlete is how much people are now getting into their messages being like, how'd you miss that last 3-pointer? I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to you.
You cost me, da-da-da.
Yeah, now I'm going to whatever. Like, and that's, you don't want to hear that. It's bad enough you miss a shot and you lose a game and fans are already upset. Now you missed a 3 and a win, and they're like, well, you screwed up my parlay, so now I'm going to whatever. Like, it's tough.
Yeah, but they're still making a lot of money off that sports betting thing. I mean, everybody in the industry is. So I don't think NBA players, how much are salaries increased by their partnership with DraftKings or FanDuel?
A lot. Folks, got time for maybe one more? Quick one?
Sure. What could we do? The Cubs lost in Milwaukee last night, 8-4, falling out of their tie atop the NL Central, all while dealing with the death of Hall of Fame second baseman Ryne Sandberg. The 65-year-old revealed back in December that his prostate cancer had returned and spread to other organs. Sandberg's resume includes the 1984 NL MVP, 9 Gold Gloves, and 10 All-Star games. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, really, really sad news about Ryne Sandberg. Coming up, we will turn our attention to the NFL and what would a successful season look like for these 4 teams. We'll do that next. MVP?
You're in a 5-minute break.
Chat where the loud ones roam. There's a legend named Drunkle, never drinks alone. He's got caps lock, wisdom, and a typing hand, defending on Maggie like a one-man band. Y'all back off, he types an all bold. She ain't gross, she's just cold. Yeah, maybe she acting that Yeti one night, but rinse it with bourbon, it'll turn out right. Drunkle sound in the digital stand, swearing up and down, that's my Kim, I'm her man. Is he real, is he fake, no one really knows, but he's got her back through highs and lows. Family's family, he swears with pride, you don't judge a girl on a rough ride. So here's to the myth and the Yankees hat cam, raise your bottles for Drunkle sound. He claims he taught her to throw a curve and burp the alphabet without losing nerve. Says Maggie's tough, ain't no shame in that. Then spills PBR all over his cat. Selling BT, trying to scroll past the mess, but Sam's in the chat screaming, show some respect. She ain't just a host, she's my blood and soul. That Yeti's historic, let the record show. Drunkle sound, the mysterious fan, defending his niece with a keyboard in hand. Is he blood, is he bluff? Hell, we can't be sure, but he fight the whole chat just to keep her pure. Real love will stand tall through the cringe and the crown, so shut your traps, Drunkle sound. Maybe he's real, maybe he ain't. Maybe he's Maggie's long-lost saint, or just a dude with a burner name, living for chaos and YouTube fame. Drunkle sound and a work on that. Is he uncle or fan? Either way, not bad. With a heart full of hops and a soul full of sass, he's drinking for justice with every glass. So tip your hat and slam your can for the Yeti from Maggie and Drunkle sound. Maybe he's real, maybe he ain't. Maybe he's Maggie's long-lost saint, or just a dude with a burner name, living for chaos and YouTube fame. But he's got it back through highs and lows. Family the use, Drunkle sound and a work on that. Is he uncle or fan? Either way, not bad. With a heart full of hops and a soul full of sass, he's drinking for justice with every glass. So tip your hat and slam your can for the Yeti from Maggie and Drunkle sound.
1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. We've been asking over the last week or so, what would a successful NFL season look like for the following teams? We've been kind of mixing it up a little bit, not just doing divisions, but a little potpourri. 4 different teams. EJ's got them. He'll toss them out to Perloff and myself, and we'll determine what a successful season would be for these NFL teams. Go ahead.
Okay, let's head to the Bayou here. The New Orleans Saints, a successful season for the Saints would be...
This is the easiest one that we'll do out of all 32. Don't win a game.
Okay.
I mean, going 0 first kind of demoralizing. Win 1 or 2 games, whatever it is. Be bad. Be the worst team in the NFL. Number 1 overall pick, no doubt, in the upcoming NFL draft. Arch Manning decides to leave Texas. You get Arch in the draft. Hands clean. Start of the new Arch era. Like, that would be an all-time turnaround for the Saints, who have kind of fallen off a bit ever since Drew Brees and Sean Payton left the franchise.
I have to wait. I can't go there. Because are we sure Arch is coming out? Do you want to really time your tank to make it 2027?
Well, they might be so bad they might not be time in the tank, but this is you're asking the perfect, most successful season. That would be it.
I'm just saying, yeah, but you don't want to. What if Arch goes back and you're sitting there tanking and you tanked and then you get a quarterback that's not Arch? So I think maybe you tank in 2 years. I'm down with tanking. I'm just saying maybe win 5 years. The problem is they're pretty old. Like, they have a lot of older. I mean, they have a lot of guys who are not going to want to tank.
Okay,
like
so
Cam
what's a
Jordan.
successful season for them?
6 wins and 0 the following season. I can't disagree with you. Like, there's no upside here. I guess a successful season is either Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck is a massive surprise star. That'd be a successful season. I mean, yeah, I just don't think Arch is coming out. I still believe that. So if you tank, I don't know if this is a year to tank. Like, I don't think that is a done deal. There are certain years, like last year, what would tanking have gotten you? I mean, Cam Ward, no one knew Cam Ward was worth tanking. So I just think it's a weird year to tank. I think if they show real promise with Kellen Moore and either Rattler or Shuck looks good, then you can feel excited. 8 wins would be a very successful season in New Orleans.
Arch is coming out.
Let's go to New England. A successful season for the Patriots would be...
Wow, so there's a ton of playoff hype around them. I am not going to go there. I think if they are really competitive, get to 8-9 wins, flirt with 500, that is a wonderful step because they're still sort of rebuilding the roster in Mike Vrabel's image. They had Bill Belichick at the end. We will admit, even Bill Belichick fans have to admit, he started missing in drafts a lot. So I think they need more time to get the roster where they want it. I don't think they need to make the playoffs this year for a successful season.
I think it's just got to be, how does Drake May look? How does it look? Because you're making the coaching change from Gerard Mayo to Vrabel. You're going with a guy from no experience as head coach to a guy with tons of experience as head coach. It's got to look like it's paying off immediately. That would be it. And I know Vrabel's a defensive guy, but it's got to look like it's paying off, whether it's 8 wins, 9 wins. I mean, they won 4 games last year. So to ask them to double it, I think is fine if you're in the hunt, but it's all about how Drake May looks. If he looks like he could be a top 10 quarterback after this season, I don't think anyone's going to remember, oh, did we make the playoffs that first year with Vrabel? Did we not? If it looks like you're set up for the next decade plus of success. So just Drake May.
How about Pittsburgh? A lot of attention there. A successful season for the Pittsburgh Steelers would be.
This is one of Perloff's and our big disagreement. Yeah. I think they got the success of Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers brought him in for his last hurrah. Maybe his last hurrah. Tomlin closing in on 20 years, but it's been 8 since he's won a playoff game. This can't just be about the plus 500 record anymore. Super Bowl is what would be successful for the Steelers.
You don't know the Steelers. You don't know me. Now I'm just trying to do my Aaron Rodgers impersonation. How can you say it's Super Bowl or bust when they haven't won a playoff game in that many years?
Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're signaling to people. DK Metcalf trade, Aaron Rodgers coming in, Jalen Ramsey. They're trying to show you they're all in.
I mean, they gave up Minka Fitzpatrick to get an aging Jalen Ramsey.
Silly. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Yeah. That one, and then Minka got paid. So that one is a wash. They brought in DK Metcalf before they had a quarterback. I don't know. And they lost George Pickens. So every one of these moves is a wash. And they still have Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator. And they have a lot of young guys around who sprinkled in with these older guys. I think winning a playoff game would be great. I think Pittsburgh fans would be happy to win a playoff game. Super Bowl just feels way too rich for me. Because look at the odds. They're nowhere near the top 10. Nobody is thinking the Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. If you find me one expert who picks Aaron Rodgers to go to the Super Bowl, I'd be shocked. Like, it's just way too far.
Okay, final one. Phillies, Perloff's favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. A successful season for the Eagles would be?
I mean, they have to repeat. And I think they're kind of universally viewed as the strongest roster right now. We tend to overrate last year's champion. The Chiefs repeated. I think the Eagles have to repeat.
Go Birds.
They realistically have a chance. My big fear for them is that Saquon Barkley will not be able to produce like he did last year, because sometimes guys with heavy workloads, running backs, kind of get hurt the next year or their numbers go down. That's my biggest concern with them, but they still have Lane Johnson hasn't retired yet. I think that they have all the talent in the world at every position. They seem to have mastered the salary cap. Howie Roseman, their GM, is on a total heater. I feel like this is repeat or bust. And I'm saying even getting to the Super Bowl and losing would be a disappointment.
Go Birds. Wow, you and I see this very different. I think you guys got a 5-year grace period here. Does anyone even remember what the follow-up season was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017?
Go Birds!
No. All you remember is, well, you probably do, but they went 9-7 and lost in the divisional round.
Yeah,
who cares?
It was the end of Carson Wentz.
Great. Ding dong. I mean, that was probably the smartest thing you ever did. So
the beginning of the end. I mean,
the beginning of the end, right?
Yeah.
Because then they drafted Hurts a couple years later. But I don't think anyone cares. You're in the glow. You're in the Super Bowl glow. And yeah, you still have a really good roster, but I don't know about the pressure to repeat. There was a pressure on the Chiefs to three-peat because no one's done it. But I think you're gravy no matter what.
So you're saying the Eagles go 6-11 and be fine?
You're in the Super Bowl glow. If guys get hurt or something like that, I mean, look what happened to the San Francisco 49ers. They didn't win the Super Bowl. They got damn close. They got to overtime, and they had a 6-win season the next year. And did anyone calling for Kyle Shanahan's head?
They fired Doug Peterson in like 3 years.
Yeah, well, that's because you couldn't. That was maybe a mistake, actually.
Well, this Super Bowl is different. I think last year's Super Bowl way different for the Eagles, because now the Eagles are considered like the smartest team in the league. Back then, it was still a little fluky. You were still in the Patriots dynasty era. Now this one, I think everyone respects the Eagles and really respects Howie Roseman. So to not follow up on that would be a big disappointment. But we're talking about expectations. You don't think they're going to be a good team this year?
I think they're going to be fine. I just don't.
Fine.
To be successful, I don't think you have to win the Super Bowl. I don't think you have to go back to back. You proved your point. You got your revenge on the Chiefs.
Oh man, you're not reading the Philadelphia room. Maybe nationally, but.
Coming up, we're asking one big question about a certain quarterback room. Do that next, M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
We're asking one big question about every quarterback room in the NFL leading right up to the kickoff of the season. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and Pearl. We're slowly but surely making our way through all these very interesting quarterback rooms.
Oh, yeah. Big one today, Maggie.
I know. Manny, hit the music. Let's do it.
It's great for the NFL that you have great quarterback play.
Finding the right quarterback can change your franchise forever.
Can you throw it like a quarterback, third in the line?
32 teams, each with just one signal caller.
It's my quarterback.
Maggie and Perloff answer one big question about the quarterback.
Go Bills.
Well, EJ, you've got the question for us. We're going to answer it today. My Buffalo Bills are right and stepping up to the plate. What do you have?
Yeah, that's very fitting that T.O. said that's my quarterback. Because this is Maggie's quarterback.
Yep.
We're talking Buffalo Bills.
Go
We're
Bills.
talking Josh Allen. And once again, similar to Dak Prescott, I'm trying to do a crystal ball here. So, does not have a Super Bowl. Bills, of course, don't have a Super Bowl. I'm wondering, is Josh Allen the next Matthew Stafford, a player who's going to play a long time with one franchise, but never get over the hump with them, but will then win a championship somewhere else?
Well, first and foremost, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you even put that into the world? It's my biggest fear. How dare you? Yeah, it is my biggest fear. I saw that Lions fans were very gracious when Matthew Stafford did leave and won with the Rams, and people are like, oh, we feel like we kind of won with him. That would not be me.
You're on record that your biggest fear is squirrels. I just want to point that out to anybody out there. This is your second biggest fear.
You know what? Yeah, it is. Squirrels, definitely 100%.
But this situation feels nothing like Matthew Stafford because Josh Allen's already won an MVP in Buffalo, has been deep into the playoffs many, many times. Matthew Stafford was on a disastrous Lions team for over a decade.
That's true.
Right. So the other thing, too, but Matthew Stafford, let me ask you this. He aged perfectly. Like, he could never run when he came into the league. Is Josh Allen going to be at 35 or was Stafford 34? Like, is he going to be a Super Bowl level quarterback at 35?
So I always like to think this about the really elite players, that they can play different ways when needed to, like when they need to. Like LeBron James, like he had to add shooting to his game. And I think that good quarterbacks can find a way to continue to win even when, say, they can't run anymore. I think Lamar Jackson could do the same thing, where you're going to have to age into a different part of your career. And the guys who can't do that don't. Like Cam Newton obviously couldn't do that, couldn't change how he played, and his career ended shorter than maybe it needed to. But I'd like to think that Allen would be able to pivot. I don't know, though. But we're talking about, if Josh Allen can't win a Super Bowl in Buffalo, would he go to if he goes to another team and wins? Like, is this what we're setting up for?
Well, I don't think this is happening. I think Josh Allen is A, loyal, B, is in a great spot in Buffalo. The team is built around him. I think this is a Jim Kelly situation. And it feels like that's Jim Kelly never left. I feel like, I don't know what it is, and I'm usually wrong about this. He feels like a Bill for life. I mean, I thought Brett Favre would be a Packer for life, and Aaron Rodgers would be a Packer for life. I feel like he feels like he's going to be there a long, long time.
Yeah, and listen, Dan Marino, State of Miami, this is what I actually worry about with Allen. So he's married to Haley Steinfeld, right? And she's a very famous Hollywood actress. She's got to be in L.A. L.A. and Buffalo aren't close geographically. When they start having kids and their life really gets going, as far as like, would he then start to get pulled west? And he's from California. Yeah. He's not from L.A., but would you get pulled maybe back towards family, and maybe he would justify it that way?
He's one of 37 quarterbacks who are linking to the Rams future after Stafford.
Yeah, if Arch Manning is there, then
Arch
he's
Manning,
not going to have a
every
spot.
other aging quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers was linked there. And yeah, okay. But I understand, because first thought I was like, oh, does that mean McVay? I mean, what other option is there? Like, where's he going to win this mythical Super Bowl?
That's a good point.
I mean, McVay won it with Stafford. That's why.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like there are a lot of better situations at Buffalo because you get to beat up on this easy division.
Well, for how long, though, is the division easy, right? Like Drake May could be coming with the Patriots. Let's see how Aaron Glenn breathes some new life into the Jets.
It's been 14 years since the Jets made the playoffs. The Dolphins are a disaster. And the Patriots, Robert Kraft is in his mid-80s. There's a lot of uncertainty there. I just think that, yeah, this is a place to be. It's kind of like Peyton Manning was with the Colts. Now, the only reason he left the Colts was because he had a devastating injury. I don't know. I'd rather bet in how old is Josh Allen? 29?
No, 28, I think. 27,
Okay.
28.
So I would be willing to bet that 10 years from now he's still a Bill. I feel really good about this. You do bring up a great point about geography, but I'm just not sure there are a lot of easy situations. Like there's going to be a ready-made Super Bowl team for him to just jump into.
Listen, you know, there's a lot of guys who thought they were going to one. Rodgers thought he was going to one on the Jets. Russell Wilson thought he was going to one maybe in Denver. Guys think that, you know, Brett Favre probably thought he was going to one when he left the Jets to go back to Minnesota. Guys feel like they can do this. I mean, this is my worst fear. And can I just add on top of it, this is why there is a certain faction of the Bills Mafia that is very much fallen out of love with Sean McDermott. Because how much longer, you mentioned it, Pearl, the division's been easy to beat up on ever since Belichick and Brady split up. Are you going to look back at all these years and say, boy, did we, waste this, red carpet to the playoffs where, it was 17 years when the Bills were in a playoff drought. Now it feels like they make it every year because they are. But did you waste your moment? Did you waste your window when you had, they clinched the division by Thanksgiving last year?
I mean, you guys are total idiots.
They clearly, the AFC was a hot mess in the late 80s and early 90s. They blew that opportunity. So,
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I think that, here, let me ask you another question about Josh Allen. You bring up the wife from who's LA, big actress, but he's from a very small town in California.
Yep.
He went to a very small college in Wyoming.
Yeah.
It feels like he seems fine with Buffalo. Like it seems to fit his personality in a way I can't describe. You follow much closer to, is he happy there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that he does, the city does suit him. There's a love affair, no doubt. But think about it. He went to Wyoming because he had to go to junior college and wasn't getting any offers. Then he gets drafted by the Bills. He's now chosen to re-sign with them because they continue to give him oodles and oodles of money, of which he deserves every penny. But if he ever had a chance to choose where he wanted to go, I don't know. He's never had that choice before. This is why guys, fight for free agency, and that rarely happens in football. But
the other thing, too, is he's a pretty big brand. Like that 17 Bills jersey, I see it everywhere. I don't know. I feel like he'd be watered down a little bit if he just left and was kind of did a KD. I don't know where. It's hard to do that as a quarterback. I think that there's like a whole thing going on with Josh Allen as a Bills quarterback. It's part of his identity. I can't picture him in another uniform. Would that look weird in your mind's eye?
yeah, but it always looks weird when a legend, changes uniforms. But I just don't understand why the Bills didn't jump on Lou Anarumo. The one guy in the world who can actually beat Andy Reid. You can't beat him. Sean McDermott is an Andy Reid disciple. You cannot beat Andy Reid in the playoffs when it matters. And Lou Anarumo, the guy who was out there from the Cincinnati Bengals, who actually can beat this guy in Arrowhead, and you didn't jump all over him because Sean McDermott's a defensive head coach. That is baffling to me.
Do they run the same defense?
Listen, bring in Anarumo just for ideas. He beat you in the playoffs, first of all, and he's the only one who's consistently, in any way, kind of beaten Mahomes. That seemed like a no-brainer to me. Anyway.
That was an unexpected little rant there. I mean,
I've been saving it.
Will Josh Allen be there in 10 years? Why do we have Lou Anarumo?
Well,
everybody knows the quarterback.
I think at some points Josh has done all he can do. Now, you can always play better. Nobody's perfect, but he plays very well in the postseason. This is why he's different than Lamar Jackson right now.
Well, the funny thing, too, is they're both so dependent on their legs. I'm not so convinced as you are that they'll be able to adjust into their late 30s.
Well,
Josh moves around all the time, almost to his detriment. I'd like to see him with an Andy Reid where it was, Mahomes moves around a lot, or like a coach who has a great offensive system and just had to stick to that and run the plays and not run. I don't know, if you took that away from Josh Allen, would he be, quote unquote, Josh Allen?
I'm not sure, but we're not going to find that out for many, many years. But this is always the tough part about having a defensive head coach in a league that is so driven by quarterbacks. You lose your offensive coordinators. These guys get hired, Brian Daboll, Manny's head coach now with the New York Giants. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator now for Buffalo. How many interviews did he do last year? Now, the fact that he came back to Buffalo was good, but I don't know. You're going to lose your offensive guys. Josh Allen's going to get more people jobs than anybody.
And I kind of wonder, at a certain point, do we blame Josh Allen for Sean McDermott still being there? Because every time we talk about Sean McDermott's job security and he's asked about it, he always gives him a huge vote of confidence. Even though they've had to fire, different offensive coordinators, they've had to change coordinators, the guys have left. He is stuck with Sean McDermott as his guy. So as much as Sean McDermott gets a lot of the blame for just his, shortcomings as a head coach, Josh Allen is co-signing everything that Sean McDermott is doing by continuing to vote him as the guy he wants to be his head coach.
It's really, really hard because I think they do have battles behind the scenes for sure.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that it's evolved. Like I think now, especially after the MVP, McDermott's going to do the defense, and I think Josh Allen and Joe Brady do the offense.
That's the thing about the Bills too, is that if their defense was elite, I think maybe we would feel differently. Where you say, okay, maybe you're losing the Chiefs, but you know what? The Bills every year, top 5, top 3 defense. Like, who can we say? Who we're going to get that's better than Sean McDermott? But they've kind of been a middle of the pack, maybe like above average defense, I think you would probably say, over the last 5 years.
See, I think that's something where that's what people give him a lot of credit. Like, look at the guys you took.
Right.
And you got them to the AFC Championship game. You got them to one
Josh,
score.
Do you mean Josh?
No, I'm talking about McDermott.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes he's had to really patch together a defense that's either gotten hurt, gotten old, some of the draft picks that don't really pan out, so...
I mean, not just got hurt. They've been through so much. They had a player who basically died on the field and is back now, thank God. But they went through chaos the last few years. The other thing, too, is weren't they rebuilt? What happened to the rebuild?
Never happened. I mean, that's a credit to their GM and maybe to the coaching staff. Listen, you wonder why the head coach is not getting fired. It was supposed to be a step back last year. And again, they had the division wrapped up by Thanksgiving. So,
I mean, the division helps. I do think that Woody Johnson, Stephen Ross, and Bob Kraft now, I mean, sorry, I think the Pujols have an ownership edge here. I'm not sure they're going to let go of the division anytime soon.
Well, that's Josh. I mean, they
have
the MVP of the league, and you just mentioned EJ's Jets have Justin Fields with a bad toe, Tua, who can't get through a season, and now we'll see what happens with Drake May.
But I think those are all probably, except New England's confusing, but I would say definitely the Jets is an ownership problem. Like, you don't accidentally miss a playoff. They have the longest non-playoff streak in all 4 major sports.
I get
that
it.
Can't be coincidence. And the Dolphins, I feel like, are right there. They're a total mess in the front office. And then, you have the Patriots. I know the Patriots are the big threat. If Drake May is good, we talked about earlier in the show, then maybe Josh Allen. But if you can win this, he's going to go to the playoffs the next 8 years. I don't know. It's not Matthew Stafford. You have to admit, that was a far worse situation.
Yeah, we're asking, is Josh Allen going to be the next Matthew Stafford, where you spend the majority of your career with one team, then go to the other one, and immediately win the Super Bowl? A little part of me would die.
We don't want that to happen.
Would you follow Josh Allen like some Patriots fans follow Tom Brady?
I don't know if I'd even blame Josh. it would kill a little part of me, but I don't know if I could blame him. If you're that good and you go that far, you lose 4, if Jim Kelly had lost 4 Super Bowls and then at the end of his career went to not Dallas, but went somewhere else and won a Super Bowl, could I blame the guy? He's done as much as he could possibly do. It would still kill a little bit of me.
Wait, what was that 60 Minutes answer? I said, would you be a fan of him on the new team? Are you afraid to go on the record here?
No, I don't do. I'm thinking. I don't do that. I root for teams. I like players, but I root for teams. I'm old school.
I mean, that'd be
way.
interesting. It would really put you to the test in that one.
It would.
I would root for him. You can root for him. No, I guess because Brady already had the rings.
Well, the other part too is Josh Allen handles himself like amazing. He never gives you a reason not to root for him. So he always comes correct. He's handling his career brilliantly, and he's extremely likable guy. So publicly, I don't know about anything about him privately, but publicly he's a very likable dude. So that helps,
But I know the Boston fans all rooted for Brady.
Well, they also had 6 Super Bowls in the back pocket. What a guy literally can't do any more for you.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference. Say Josh Allen in 8 years went to Arizona and won a Super Bowl. Could you do it? Yeah, all right, let me ask you this question. If Josh Allen does win a ring and then late in his career decides to go to L.A. because his wife and his family's out there.
Oh, if he wins the ring, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Have fun. Can't wait to see you at the reunion.
Got it. So this is ring dependent.
This is a ring dependent thing.
Got it.
This is ring culture. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Actually, you know what? I'd almost rather have him win the ring and then leave.
Go Bills.
Because I don't want to have to do the aging star thing, and then when do you push him out? And has he overstayed his welcome? And now you're doing a Ben Roethlisberger thing at the end. Like, don't do that. Leave on the high note.
I'm very curious how Josh Allen ages. I'm really, really interested in this. And same with Lamar. I mean, much more. Once Lamar is not the most explosive quarterback ever, who is he going to be? I think Lamar, I agree with you. He could be awesome. I mean, we have no idea.
We've got lots to do, including the Maggie Perloff bracket of the greatest sports nicknames of all time. We're getting down here to the literally the final four. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
Go Bills.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Well, the game was tight, the crowd was loud, the judge went down, ain't no cheers now. Flicks are strained, they said real low, like a punch straight through my radio. Manny Rodriguez sitting third row, with his judge jersey and his heart broke slow. He stood up once, then he sat back down, poured that pain till he couldn't hear the sound. Now he's blackout drunk in a parking lot bar, talking to ghosts and cussing at the stars. Why'd you take my hero? What did he do? Whiskey on his lips, Yankee tears in his boots. Bartender said, son, it's just a game, but to Manny it's blood running through his veins. So pour one more shot to leave on the line for the kid who lost hope when we lost 99. Shortstop in a little league town, swung like Judge, always dreaming big now. Had the poster, had the swing, hell, he even rocked that pinky ring. But the Bronx felt cold when Judge went down. Manny just drifted to another round, talking like Judge was a brother he knew, swearing he felt that pain too. Now he's blackout drunk in a parking lot bar, talking to ghosts and cussing at the stars. Why'd you take my hero? What did he do? Whiskey on his lips, Yankee tears in his boots. Bartender said, son, it's just a game, but to Manny it's blood running through his veins. So pour one more shot and leave on the line for the kid who lost hope when we lost 99. Played shortstop in a little league town, swung like Judge, always dreaming big now. Had the poster, had the swing, hell, he even rocked that pinky ring. But the Bronx felt cold when Judge went down. Man, he just drifted to another round, talking like Judge was a brother he knew, swearing he felt that pain too. Maybe tomorrow he'll find his way home, but tonight, that pinstripe heart's alone, and the world just don't feel right. When your hero's down and out for the fight. Yeah, he's blackout drunk in a parking lot bar, praying that rehab ain't too far. Come back soon, Judge, we need you bad. Man, he's got no tears left to be had.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I've learned a lot from our nickname bracket, Maggie. The Maggie and Perloff Show nickname bracket, figuring out the best nickname in all of pro sports.
What have you learned? Share with the class.
I have strong opinions on what makes a good nickname. You can't have the person, and this is not the way people voted. If the person's full name is in there, like Hammering Hank Aaron and Mean Joe Green, that's not a nickname. It's got to be one thing, like the human highlight reel. To me, that's a nickname. Just adding a word in front, and also, I think you and I differ on this. You can't just sort of do initials or just change one letter in the guy's name. Like Andy is not a nickname for Andrew,
right?
So
well, it's funny that you said Hammer and Hank Aaron because Hank is definitely a nickname for Henry, but
no, it's not. Is that a nickname to me?
Yes.
And here's the other thing: if you're Chad Ochocinco, I'm sorry, that's not a nickname anymore. That's his name.
Oh, because he legally changed it to
And it's been that
Ochocinco?
way for a decade. Like, nobody knows. Young kids are not going to have any idea that his original name was Johnson.
I think that's what makes it such a good nickname is that it's become so much a part of them that people don't even remember what the real name is. I think I'm totally opposite from you on that. Like Magic Johnson is a great nickname. People might not even know it's Irvin. I think that's what makes it good.
Yeah, but his name is Magic Johnson.
Well,
That's
no, his name's
name.
Irvin Johnson.
That's not. No one says. No one calls Magic a nickname anymore. Now it's just his name. Like
right.
if
I
you
think that's
Google-
what makes it good.
Yeah. I just think it's his name. It's not really a nickname. Is like the answer or the Iceman.
Right.
Yeah, something that is totally unrelated. Like Andy is not a nickname for Andrew, by the way. Is that what's called a nickname?
Practice.
Is EJ a nickname for Elijah?
My J middle name that nobody knows.
Well, I know.
I was
now.
trying to trick him right there.
Wait, by the way, so I know EJ's middle name now. Did you hear how this went down on our production call the other day?
I did hear you guys talking about it.
Yeah. So leave it to a child. All of a sudden, my kid busts in the room and says, EJ, what's your middle name?
Is that
And
right?
EJ gave up the goods immediately. I mean, his little angel voice on the other end, you're in a tough spot there, but it would have been hilarious if you told my kid, like, sorry, Lucas, can't do it.
Well, listen, it's like when, Superman or Batman, when they see a little kid that scares, sometimes they take off their mask. Be like, hey, listen, it's going to be okay. Like, that's what you got to do sometimes.
Jackson.
So young 6-year-old Lucas, I gave him
Just gave it up.
Yeah.
Jackson, Joseph.
No, wrong.
I can't believe we didn't get it this whole time.
I mean, EJ told me about a year ago, and
Yeah.
I forgot within days.
I guessed it, and I don't remember now.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys?
Jonah Jameson.
Because it's like, oh, okay, that kind of
Yeah.
makes sense. It wasn't like
It wasn't Jehoshaphat.
it wasn't that unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Jehoshaphat would have been remembered exactly. That'd be cool.
Am I allowed to say out loud what I think I remember it being?
I don't know,
Or
guys.
do you want it to be a secret still?
No.
Let's keep the secret going.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to have to do something way bigger to give this up. But I was surprised how quickly Lucas just got that on EJ over the phone.
Jebediah.
No.
Ooh.
That would have been cool.
Is Manny a nickname for Emmanuel?
Well, yeah,
No.
I guess.
Think so.
I just shortened
Definitely
it because
is.
there's Emmanuel, and Emmanuel sounds better in Spanish than it does in English. 3 syllables is a little too much. In Spanish, it's 2 syllables, so that's why I'm Manny for the English-speaking folks and Emmanuel for the Spanish-speaking folks.
Bogusch, so you would say if, somebody new came to the office, that's Emmanuel, his nickname is Manny?
I know 3 Mannies, and all 3 of them are Emmanuel.
Right, but it's not a nickname because we call him Manny. That's my point. Like a nickname is like the fridge.
No, you want the Pillsbury Throwboy.
Yeah,
That's
I want
what you
a nickname. I want something that is like creative to some point. I just think we should have been judging more along certain, like, I'm sorry, Me Joe Green should not have beaten the Intimidator, for example.
You want me to be like La Bichuela or something like that. You want me to be El Frijol. You want me to be the beans, right?
Can we call you El Frijol?
If you want to, I guess. It's a nickname.
George is in L.A., wants to weigh in on these nicknames. How you doing, George?
Oh, good, you guys. Good morning. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to go to the Coliseum and meet the fearsome foursome, Lamar Lundy, Rosie Greer, Deacon Jones, and Merlin Olsen. And they were really nice guys. I guess it was a different world back then. I was just a kid. But to me, they were an amazing team, an amazing nickname. And Perloff, just so you know, just not trying to be rude, but the Rams are the team that's going to stop your Eagles.
Oh, George calling your shot.
I love
it.
By the
Although
way-
Stafford's got to get over that back issue that's keeping him out of training camp this week.
But for example, Deacon Jones, tell me his real name. Does anybody know it? His name is now Deacon. It's not a nickname anymore.
But so fearsome foursome is a little bit different because that's obviously the entire line. We didn't do Steel Curtain. We didn't do Murderers Row. We didn't do Gangrene or New York Sack Exchange. We didn't do Broad Street Bullies. Just individuals.
Right.
Yeah. Just to, get it out there.
We didn't do Deacon Jones.
We did not do Deacon Jones.
We did not do Rosie
Well,
Greer.
hold on. Let's get to our results, Manny. Hit the music.
64 nicknames were entered, but only one will win. It's Maggie and Perloff's search for the greatest nickname in sports.
All right, Pearl, you don't like it when somebody's actual name is in
Nope.
the nickname?
Huge pet peeve of mine.
Well, chew on this. Mean Joe Green, easy win over the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Is there a better name than Mean Joe Green?
Apparently not. According to you guys out there, 65% to 35%. Mean Joe Green into the Final Four. And as for that was the Tough Guys and Enforcers region. The Flash and Fun region, the 9 seed William Refrigerator Perry, the Fridge marches on.
The refrigerator, William Perry from the Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears.
The Fridge took out Dr. J, Julius Irving, 55% to 45%. So, EJ, give us the Final Four matchups again.
Okay, so now the Final Four, you will have Air Jordan versus Mean Joe Green. And then you'll have the Fridge versus the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how that worked out with what Perloff was just talking about, how you don't like the person's name in the nickname. Air Jordan, Mean Joe Green on one side of the bracket, and then the Fridge and the Great One, who don't have their names in it, on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, Air Jordan's an exception, though. I'm voting for that one. Air Jordan's funny, though. We had a debate yesterday. Do you actually call him Air Jordan to his face?
No.
I'm not sure. People did call him that for a while.
I feel like you may, as a joke, call him his airness, your airness. I don't know if anyone would say, I'm here with Air Jordan.
You say Air Jordan with a jump shot. That wouldn't sound funny. That would make sense.
If you wanted him to sign an autograph, would you go, hey, Air Jordan, come sign my basketball? I don't think so.
Well, the funny one to me in this whole thing, Jeremy Lin was nicknamed Linsanity.
Mhm.
Is that his nickname, or is that the period of time when he played?
Both.
Yeah, like Linsanity comes. Do you say Linsanity drives in the lane and hits a layup? The announcers didn't say it.
No, but I bet if he was walking down the street in New York, someone would say, hey,
Yeah.
Linsanity. They'd probably shout that at him.
God, imagine how insufferable Manny must have been during that.
Yeah, I was. I was also like 14, so cut me some slack.
No.
It was a fun time.
It was a fun time.
Was it like 9 days?
Everyone can get behind Linsanity.
Remember that
that
Valentine's?
was a purely New York thing. And New York media, that was, trust me, I did not get behind Linsanity.
Bogusch was.
You're bugging. That was not just a
No,
New York
that
thing.
made the cover of SI 2 weeks in a row because the SI was loaded with New York people. I'm telling you, that was crazy. But the rest of the world is like, what is happening to the
Not
national?
China.
That was a international story. What are you talking
Or
about?
Taiwan.
It was
I guess.
so overrated because of the New Yorkness. He made 2 SI covers in a row, and I was like, that hadn't happened since.
But America
since
cared,
Hank
though.
Aaron.
There's his Philly bias, but
Yeah, here we
pointing
go.
out, earlier Maggie can't have a take about Bryce Harper, and now all of a sudden this guy has a take about Linsanity, calling it overrated.
You don't
There's
think
the
that Jeremy
Philly
Lin
bias.
2 weeks was overhyped?
I think that what it meant to the Asian community and about representation and how this was so, quite frankly, just against type that you would have. There weren't Harvard-educated Asian American players beating Kobe Bryant in Madison Square Garden. So I think a lot of that was because of his race.
Do you think if it had happened in Milwaukee, it would have the same national craze?
I think because there's a huge Asian population in this country, I do think it would have caught on. I mean, I think the Garden always helps. If you're asking me about basketball,
it's the whole debate. Would Derek Jeter be Derek Jeter if he played in Kansas City his whole career?
Well, Derek Jeter was also about winning. I don't think that was just about New York. If there was a dynasty that was happening in Kansas City, I think that he would get his proper due.
Saludos, compañeros.
I totally disagree.
Okay. I mean, that's fine, but I'm not going to disagree
the Asian community
that
would have got behind Jeremy Lin if he was beating Kobe Bryant on national TV.
Yeah, it would have been a big deal. It would have been a big deal, but it wouldn't have been Linsanity. Linsanity, by definition, the country went insane. But it was really the New York media. Yeah, insane definition. Like, this is not rational.
When Linsane.
No, but
Why? He made two SI covers in a row. I was like, what is happening here? If it had happened in Milwaukee, I guarantee that would not have happened.
Okay, that's fine if you want to point out that it got heightened because it happened in New York.
Yeah, it did.
Like, okay, that's fine. No one's going to disagree with you about that, but to say it wouldn't have been a big deal.
No, I didn't say it would have been. It would not have been Linsanity, though.
It still could have had the cool nickname.
It would have been a national story.
Yeah, I just don't think it would have become an all-encompassing media fire for part of a month like it did. I think it would have been much more cooler. It would have been a big deal, but it was Linsanity. It was really like the number one story in sports. Number one story in sports for 2 weeks. I think there was a big New York part of that.
Okay, but here's the thing. Shohei Ohtani. Was that not a big deal? What he did, being from Japan, hitting and pitching, doing it for the Angels, which, yes, is technically, I guess, it's Anaheim, but nobody thinks that it's on par with the Dodgers. I'm sorry, Anaheim, but it's the second fiddle franchise in that LA market. It's still a huge deal. And if Shohei was doing
Shohei was the best player in the sport. Jeremy Lin was a 10-day guy who had a hot 2 weeks.
I know, but you're asking, like, does it have to be in New York to be this craze? And I'm saying absolutely not.
Ooh, okay.
Hey, what about Tebow Mania? That guy didn't play anywhere in New York.
Tebow won 2 national titles. Jeremy Lin, again, had like a hot 4-game stretch.
Yeah, but that's also like Hawk Tua's not from New York. That's the thing. It was one of those burn bright, burn out type of thing.
All right.
You guys are right. Flash in the pans are like not just solo to New York City. There's plenty of flash in the pan stories that we've had all throughout the history. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, don't you have
I just thought Jeremy Lin was a little overhyped.
Well, you can think that. That's fine. But no one also is saying that he's the greatest player of all time. Like, we're acknowledging that it was a short stint. Because then he went to Houston and it wasn't as good.
Do you know how many athletes in the history of American sports have made back-to-back Sports Illustrated covers?
Yeah, not Muhammad Ali, maybe. I don't even know.
Yeah, and Jeremy Lin does not belong in the same sentence with Muhammad Ali.
Well, take it up with the editors of SI.
But also,
I was there.
Did you have a story
what are
that
we
got
doing?
canned over this? Like,
it seems really personal. Here's the other thing, too. Do you think anyone canceled their SI subscription over that? Like, I don't think it offended people. Like, it seems to have offended you.
It didn't offend me. I just think it was like, it's classic New York media. Just blowing something that is not that big of a deal into like, it was like all encompassing. It was probably the number one story. He was a heavy consideration for Sportsman of the Year.
But they didn't give it to him.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he was definitely overhyped because how many games did he actually do that for?
Random hate for Jeremy Lin at 8:33 on a Tuesday morning, man.
Write a letter to the editor. You sat
I'm
next
the
to
only
him.
non-New Yorker here, so you guys don't understand.
Well, in fairness, though, the ratings for those games were massive. Like, we're acting like, only New York cared. That's not true. The country cared. And
you know who's with me?
Who?
Carmelo Anthony.
Well, yeah, and that's why he didn't finish a Knick. But, like, also, I want to say this, too, and I'm sorry. Like, it matters that it was the Knicks. It matters that it was Madison Square Garden. It matters that it was New York City. This is the mecca of basketball. This idea that, it's only because of that. Well, that's part of it. Like, just like it would matter if he was doing it with the Lakers or if an NFL player was doing something incredible for the Dallas Cowboys. Like, that matters. Like, I don't think that takes away from the story. It makes the story better. This is a terrible franchise that was hopeless. And then a guy who was playing from Harvard that barely made the team randomly goes on this crazy 3-4 week stretch. Yeah, it's a big story.
Sleeping on someone's couch.
Yeah, I don't know where the negativity comes from something like that.
I think it was overhyped, and I think it was a lot of New York people driving the story.
New York is the lifeblood of basketball. So I think to separate New York City and say, well, it's only New York City. Well, basketball is important in New York City, just like New York City is important to basketball.
But Maggie just said Shohei was in Anaheim and blew up, and it doesn't matter where you are. I just literally just heard on our own show, it doesn't matter where you are. You can burn bright.
Yeah, I think you can. But does Madison Square Garden help? Sure. But if you are going to be a thing, I think you're a thing anywhere. If it's going to have a moment, it's going to have a moment. Like sometimes we determine, like Caitlin Clark was doing this at Iowa. Like sometimes not being in the big city helps. Sometimes you never know. Not every story is the same.
And I'm really surprised. Like, you guys really think Derek Jeter would be as famous a person the same view if he was in Kansas City the whole time? See, I thought that was the Yankees.
Did they win 4 times in 5 years?
No.
Well, then that's the difference. If he has the same exact everything in a Royals uniform,
I mean,
he's still Derek Jeter.
Travis Kelce's doing it in Kansas City because they're winning, and then he started dating Taylor Swift. Like, it doesn't have to be in New York.
So the guys who won, I don't even know their names, the Giants, the three titles in the early 2010s, did they all explode like Jeter?
Well, who on that team was Jeter? Who has Jeter's resume? Because at the end of the day, he still has
Madison Bumgarner is huge.
Right.
Is he huge?
And Buster Posey's
Derek
known.
Jeter is the face of the sport for.
He's a biracial angel.
But he also did it for the franchise in the sport. Of course, the Yankees.
Yeah, I think it's like a New York.
But he wouldn't be a no-name player if he was still the shortstop on a team that won 4 times in 5 years.
No, I definitely wouldn't be a no-name, but he wouldn't be Derek Jeter as we know him now.
He'd be in the Hall of Fame still.
Yeah, of course.
And he's handsome. He'd still be selling me stuff.
But you know how huge Derek Jeter is as a name in the sport?
Alex Rodriguez got really, really big even before he got to New York. He got really big in Seattle. He was really big in Texas. Like, you can be also a huge figure. Jeter had a lot going for him. He had the winning. He won right away when he got up to the majors. He had the dating life that was really exciting for people. He was like the most eligible bachelor. Like, he had a lot. There was a lot to the story, right?
I also think we just can't pretend like doing incredible feats for flagship franchises don't matter. It does. And I don't think that it's a negative. I don't take it as, oh, well, actually, he's not that good. It's like, no, it's a lot harder sometimes to do it for the Yankees than it is for other teams. It's a different standard. It's a different pressure. There's different things that go into it. So there's difference for the importance of the sport and for the importance of the league. So I don't take, and I know I'm a New Yorker and we're talking about New York teams, but again, if we were talking about the Dodgers and the Lakers, I would say the exact same thing. Is Kobe Bryant as idolized as he was if he was doing this for, the Miami Heat or the Charlotte Hornets? We have people who call here say Kobe Bryant's better than Michael Jordan, better than LeBron James. Kobe Bryant fans yelling at me like all the time on social media. Is it because he's a Laker? Or is it because he's just great? It's you can do this for any franchise. Larry Bird. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing too is like I don't think Jeter was as great a player as his reputation.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
We can do that if you want.
But that's not. By the way, you guys are acting to me like I'm crazy. Like, I am not the only person who thinks that.
No, we're not.
Because you shot Derek Jeter.
I feel like his reputation got amped up because he was a Yankee.
But of course it does. But it seems like I don't think you're also like what's unclear to us is what you think he should be if he didn't play as a Yankee. Like, I don't like what you're presenting as this huge drop
because of a Nomar or somebody he wouldn't be like Derek Jeter is idolized. Like, he was
because he won 4 titles. If you take that off the table, he's not Derek Jeter. But if he wins 4 titles in 5 years somewhere else with all these same numbers, he's still he's an 8 out of 10 instead of a 9 out of 10. Is that what you're saying?
But don't you think his reputation comes down a little bit?
But not to a point where he's unimportant.
I'm not saying he's unimportant. I'm saying he's not.
I think he's overhyped.
I still don't know what you're saying to the negative side. Like, I don't know how much you want to like degrade him for being for not being a Yankee.
I don't think he's the face of the sport like he was.
Yeah, I mean, if there any team's winning 4 out of 5 years and he's doing all of those same things, making all of those same plays, how is baseball not selling him?
I'm Derek Jeter. You shot me.
I mean, I think A-Rod would be a bigger star. Like, I think Jeter was right there with A-Rod his whole life, probably ahead of him. I think if Jeter was in another market, I don't think it would have the same allure.
Has there ever been a dynasty where the face of the sport was not someone in that dynasty?
Right.
Like, I don't think that's
Tom Brady.
I don't think it's ever happened. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Magic and Bird,
all of those Steelers in the 70s.
Michael Jordan.
What about the Spurs dynasty? Tim Duncan really wasn't the face of the NBA.
Was that really a dynasty?
But if he was a Knick, definitely would have been.
Also, you have to throw in the fact, like, I don't know what Tim Duncan wanted to do in that situation.
Also, Kobe was playing during that time, so
that's
like
what I'm saying.
He played but he wanted that. He wasn't a dynasty. So the Duncan thing really isn't fair because you have a guy who had a Derek Jeter resume already.
But also, if Duncan was Barkley, he would have been a bigger deal then.
Of course.
The way he carried himself also limited how crazy we were going to get about him. and how much he was going to be out there. Like Mike Trout. Mike Trout doesn't want to be Derek Jeter, so he just goes about being Mike Trout.
Yeah, I mean, if Tim Duncan was Kevin Garnett, in terms of personality, I think he'd be a different. Look at him different.
For sure.
I mean, Kevin Garnett's a crazy person. You definitely market that.
Speaking of, we do have to get to
exactly
the next Laker legend. That'd be Luka Doncic. Major glow up happening in Croatia right now, where he looks phenomenal. We'll get to that and Bogusch's headlines in just a moment. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Let's get to Bogusch, who's got all the headlines today because it's a real mixed bag out there of some crazy stuff that went on yesterday. Hi, Bogusch.
Roger Goodell told NFL employees last night they could take today off altogether or work from home while the league and NYC authorities process what happened yesterday in Manhattan. An NFL employee was severely wounded. 4 others died in a mass shooting in the building and outside the building that houses NFL headquarters. The alleged shooter reportedly had a 3-page note on him. It said, in part, he believes he had CTE and wanted his brain studied. Now on to our normal NFL news, where Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski said yesterday there is no timetable for Kenny Pickett to return from the hamstring injury suffered over the weekend. Joe Flacco gets the large majority of first-team reps in the meantime. The Titans are waiving wideout Treylon Burks shortly after he broke a collarbone at training camp. If no one claims him, he can go to their IR. Burks was the first-round pick that Tennessee got for A.J. Brown. He's only caught 53 balls for 699 yards and 1 touchdown since then.
That trade really worked out.
Oh,
For the Eagles.
God.
Yeah.
I saw that described as the worst trade in NFL history multiple times on social media.
It has to be.
No, doesn't the Herschel Walker one?
Yeah.
That will be the worst trade.
But the thing is, they didn't have to take Treylon Burks. They probably could have taken another player. They traded the pick.
Right. The mistake was Burks. Was not.
Yeah, getting a first for AJ's good in theory, but what do you do with the pick?
Yeah. I'm sure if we could find wide receivers in that draft who are way better than Treylon Burks.
Or just any other player.
Pretty much.
Anyone who's out there actually playing. Yes.
Anybody with a pulse.
A pair of long winning streaks in baseball ended last night. The Mets losing in San Diego 7-6 despite leading 5-1. That ends their 7-game run. The Rangers' 6-game streak ending in Anaheim 6-4. The Astros lose again, now 5 in a row, 2-1 to the Nationals. The Orioles used 4 homers and 16 total hits to down the Blue Jays 11-4. And the Twins outlasted the Red Sox.
That'll mold right now for Brooks Lee. With a 1 out, down 0-2. Line to left field, slicing, and that's a fair ball. Twins are going to win this game. Gasper scores, Castro scores, and the Twins win in walk-off fashion. Brooks Lee does it again.
That's from Twins TV. Brooks Lee's latest heroics, that 2-run single, giving Minnesota a 5-4 win over the Red Sox. Boston took the lead, top 9, on a Roman Anthony RBI single, but then a 90-minute rain delay began. Hall of Fame second baseman Ryne Sandberg passed away yesterday at just 65, more than a year and a half since announcing he had prostate cancer. The current Cubs had that on their mind during an 8-4 loss in Milwaukee. That breaks, for now, their tie atop the NL Central. The Dallas Wings made just 1 shot in the fourth quarter, but still beat the Liberty 92-82, 20 points for Paige Beckers. Well, they were up 23 through 3, so they had a cushion.
They had a really big lead.
To be terrible. And the Storm handled the Sun 101-85. Skylar Diggins, 11 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. Back to you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
I looked at the receivers after Treylon Burks. Not good, though. Christian Watson, always hurt. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah.
Is he going to be a thing at all?
No, he's hurt all the time.
I think
John
he got
Mechie
hurt at Giants
immediately.
camp.
Yeah.
John Mechie got sick immediately. Tyquan Thornton, nothing. George Pickens.
Right, but you don't have to look at the wide. You could have grabbed a tight end. You could have grabbed an offensive lineman. I mean,
any useful player.
Yeah.
But you just, I think the trade was, as I recall, they just traded A.J. Brown. They needed a receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was always going to be a high bar to live up to, though. It's like, we're going to trade out this guy for someone who plays his position. So immediately the fan base is like, great, you're the next A.J. Brown. And then that didn't happen.
And do you remember, too, I think they were worried about his weight coming in. So there was a lot of issues about, is Treylon Burks going to work hard enough? And the answer was a definitive no.
Was that like a draft day trade?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
it
were
was.
Perloff and I were in Vegas covering the draft. We were out there for CBS Sports Radio at the time. Now, obviously, the Infinity Sports Network, doing the draft in Vegas. I think that was our first year doing the show together. And it happened like 2 seconds into the draft, if I recall this.
Right, but not like with Tennessee on the clock to go, or with the Eagles on the clock to go get Burks.
Yeah.
Like they had the pick
Yes.
and the draft unfolded, and then they still used it on him.
And I ripped the trade because I'm like, why are you spending $25 million on a receiver?
Yeah, that was receivers the new running back.
But I didn't know that the Eagles had figured out a way to cheat the salary cap and pay everybody, which is the reality of the situation.
I also feel like they really made a good bet on A.J. Brown. I thought he was good. I didn't think he was a superstar wide receiver, which is what he is.
Well, let's be honest, though. There was a moment where I felt like I was falling off the rails with him. Remember when he was reading a book on the sideline? But
I mean, that easy. If they had lost in the playoffs, he'd probably be unhappy right now.
I think so, too. Maybe asking for a trade. I don't know.
But
they
also,
continued to pay him, though.
He was always under DK Metcalf's shadow forever, even though he was drafted before because of the Ole Miss guys.
Yep.
I felt like he was – I'm surprised because you could argue he's the best receiver in the NFL right now. You can make that argument. I'm not saying
He's great, though.
I would put Chase ahead of him and Jefferson ahead of him, but he's right there.
I think he's maybe the best not them wide receiver. Those two guys are different.
But can I be honest, though? Part of me feels like the only reason why we're not putting him in those conversations is because of Jalen Hurts. Sorry.
Yeah, that'd be Jalen Hurts. He also they don't let Jalen Hurts throw that much.
Yeah, because he's not elite.
I mean, yeah.
But you know what Jalen Hurts' secret weapon is? The long
touch
bomb
push.
to A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Him getting pushed
But
on the line.
That's not really a secret anymore, Maggie.
Let's go to Austin, who's in California. Good morning, Austin. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. That report earlier about families dying or whatever, that kind of put me in a bummer mood. So not as well as I would have been. But hey, listen, we're talking like nicknames in sports. Okay, so Usain Bolt, I don't know if that's his nickname or if that's his real name. We'll go there. And then the Linsanity thing, like being from Oakland, like born and bred Bay. Linsanity didn't start in the Madison Square Garden. It started in Oakland before the Warriors decided to go over the Bay Bridge into, San Francisco. So Linsanity is a good name, but he knows that he's from Oakland. He's from the East Bay, and that's all I got to say. But man, what a bummer about whatever happened.
Oh, the shooting in New York. Oh, it's just horrible. Austin,
yeah, I just like that's stronger than a cup of coffee. And I'm walking my dog right now, and it's a major bummer. Whenever I hear this stuff, it makes me very upset. And I haven't had caffeine yet, and that woke me up, and I'm very sad.
Well,
I'm very, very sad to hear anything like that.
Austin,
but anyway, you guys wake me up and make me very happy every time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Austin. A lot there. Yeah, devastating if you're just getting the news. A gunman came into a building in New York where the NFL headquarters are, but that's not the only offices. But they shot a security guard, several other people, and the gunman had a note in their pocket, as Bogusch just went through, that he believed he had CTE. He was a standout high school football player in California is what we're hearing. Never made the college level of the pros, but is obviously harboring something against football or what happened to him, which is just it's horrible. It's devastating. We're sorry we have to bring you this news. And it's funny about Roger Goodell said, put out a statement, take the day off.
Yeah,
Raj,
of course.
Take the week off. I mean, no amount of time. You can't put time limits on this kind of trauma and what that could do psychologically to people to walk back into that building. But I can't imagine it'd be easy to do that, whether it's tomorrow, the next day, or the next day.
Oh,
as far
absolutely.
as Linsanity, because Jeremy Lin's from Oakland,
I thought
can they now claim that?
Did he start his career with the Warriors?
He did also start with the Warriors.
Technically, but that's not where
And he's
Linsanity
from there?
happened.
He's from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Stanford area, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but you can claim him as he's a famous person and a successful person from your area, but Linsanity happened on the other coast.
They cut him. The Warriors cut him. No, it didn't start in Oakland.
888-710-4ISN. Okay, what's going on now with the Browns quarterback situation? We've got the latest next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
So how will Kenny Pickett's hamstring injury impact the rest of the Cleveland Browns quarterback room? Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Haven't talked about Kenny Pickett this much in a while, quite frankly, Pearl, but his hamstring injury now is front and center because Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Browns, spoke yesterday, said there's not a timetable on his return. And I was really surprised with how he said the reps are now going to get split up between the rest of the three QBs, which of course is Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders, basically saying that Joe Flacco is going to get the majority of the snaps, and I don't understand why.
Joe Flacco?
I think I have a theory why. I honestly think, based on the way Stefanski was talking yesterday, I think he wants Kenny Pickett to win the job, and I don't think he wants the noise of the two rookies in there getting into the first team reps, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. So what's the safest way? If you go along with this theory that he really wants Kenny Pickett to win this job and he's going to be back in 3 days, what's the safest way to do that? Don't put Dylan and Shedeur in there.
Yeah, don't bet a Wally Pipp situation, as you're saying.
Well, I just think the media would make a huge deal out of that if, especially Shedeur got in there and threw a bunch of touchdowns in practice, which are hard to judge because it's only practice. I think the simplest way is keep Flacco in there, let Pickett heal, bring him back in 10 days, and let him win the job. I think that it's definitely Pickett and Flacco. And honestly, the way that they looked, I feel like, oh, man, they were disappointed about this because Pickett was trending towards winning the job.
Yeah, to me, having Joe Flacco, who's 40, get the majority of the first team reps is the last thing you need right now. You actually do need to give these two rookie quarterbacks as much experience as possible because if Pickett already is hurt, we're barely into the second week of training camp. Flacco's 40. If Kevin Stefanski, who may or may not be on the hot seat, is really going to save his job, you've got to make sure that these rookies look at least competent, decent. Like, it can't just be, if let's say you do get to the rookies for injury's sake at some point in the season, which is not so far-fetched, they can't look like a disaster, right? Or everyone's going to say, well, Stefanski, aren't you the quarterback guy? Aren't you the one who's supposed to be helping these guys along? I think you would want to give the majority of the reps to Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. I guess here would be another question. Why do you think that Stefanski may be tilting the scales or have his thumb on the scales to give Pickett the job?
Well, because I think Pickett can move and Flacco can't. And I think, based on the coverage of Cleveland, like, whoa, this guy's a little better than we thought. I think people think he had that year in Philly, probably cleaned up any problems he had in Pittsburgh. I think they look back at Pittsburgh and say, oh, that was the offense was bad. That was Matt Canada. You had a terrible offensive coordinator. I think that they might have gotten this year's Sam Darnold and Kenny Pickett. The other thing, too, by the way, you have 11 guys on offense. Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders have no idea how to run an NFL offense. They're not going to be able to go in the first team and run those plays. They have no experience whatsoever. They would screw up the entire works, right? Like, you got to run at practice.
Well, see, I think that's why you do this, right? You make the mistakes in practice. You learn in practice. You're only going to learn from your mistakes, or at least that's the best way to learn. And I think you can still evaluate your offense and your wide receivers and stuff, even if you give some more reps to Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I'm not talking about just evaluating. I also think, like, the receivers need to get in rhythm, and then the offense needs to start building itself to get ready for week one. Here's the question. It's not about developing Gabriel and Sanders yet. It's about trying to win some games now. And those guys aren't going to win games. I mean, nobody comes in. Very, very few rookie quarterbacks come in and win, and never, except for Russell Wilson, third rounder, fifth rounder. Can you imagine? Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur come from such different offenses. There's no way they could run that practice. Like, you need Flacco.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Dak Prescott came in, won a little bit in his rookie year. I think that, I think Joe Flacco showed that he could come off the couch and he could help get the Browns to the playoffs 2 years ago. I don't know how much materially is changing, and I know their schedule is just awful, like right out of the chute, and you want, I guess, to be able to win some games there, but I think Joe Flacco would be able to do that whether he gets 90% of the snaps with the first team, 50%, 40%, 30%. Like, I just don't think he's changing very much. But to your point about the overall competition, let's hear from Kevin Stefanski. He says the quarterback decision will encompass the entire evaluation, even going back to spring, and that despite Pickett's injury, he's very much in the mix.
The evaluation on these guys is all-encompassing. It goes back through the spring. It goes to what they've put on tape already as football players. So I know he wants to be out there, but he's still very, very much involved.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, if he's saying what they've put on tape as football players, well, how are Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel supposed to compete with that? They haven't even been in the league to put anything on tape.
I mean, they say Shedeur is not even close, right? And that's why he's off on another field. I'm not sure what I figured he would have learned some pro style offense in college from Pat Shurmur, but all the word coming out of Cleveland is he's got a long learning curve ahead of him. Again, I just hear they want Pickett. I can hear it in his voice. He just really wants Kenny Pickett to be the guy.
Yeah, which I don't really understand. I would kind
Pickett's
of
pretty young. I mean, what's wrong with Kenny Pickett?
Well,
let's not forget Shadow.
I think I would probably see let the chips fall where they may. Maybe the guy was overdrafted. Maybe he was. Maybe it's not going to happen with Kenny Pickett, and you could have something here in Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur, which you could really grow with. And maybe that saves your job. I don't know. I don't know why I'd close myself off to anything at this point if I'm Kevin Stefanski. Let's let the best guy win. And I don't know if a rookie would even be the best guy, but let's at least see. Not give 40-year-old Joe Flacco all the first team reps doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I would go with again. I think the wide receivers. Imagine if you're Jerry Jeudy and Dillon Gabriel is running the offense for a majority of the practice. You're not going to get the kind of practice you need to get ready for the season because he's probably going to have trouble getting the plays in. He's probably not going to see everything because he's short. There's just all sorts of things that would go wrong. And then Jerry Jeudy wouldn't be ready for week one when it's going to be Pickett or Flacco. So I understand why you wouldn't do the rookies. Stefanski, you just said it's on the hot seat. I don't think he could just be this whole season's a tryout for Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel. I don't think he views it that way at all.
No, we're talking about the Browns quarterback situation with Kenny Pickett now out. They said Joe Flacco is going to get all the first team reps, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because I guess I'm anticipating a season where I think we're going to see a lot of these quarterbacks. I think we're getting down to the third guy on the depth chart. And this scenario you just painted, say Jerry Jeudy, wants to run a practice in a certain type of way. I'd rather do that in practice and have Dillon Gabriel get reps or Shedeur get reps than have to happen week 7 when they're playing against, I don't even have their schedule up in front of me, but they're playing against, the Bengals, and he has to get forced into action. I'd rather have him had a couple meaningful snaps in training camp.
Yeah,
meaningful.
I think you get 3 months to study everything, and maybe you'll be more ready, and probably a little later than week 7, be ready to go. The other thing, too, is you got to protect their confidence. I don't really want them going out there running the bulk of the first team practice against Myles Garrett, and all of a sudden they're like, well, I'm terrible. I think this is for their own good. And they have joint practices coming up. I think the Eagles and the Panthers, they do not want to put those 2 rookies out first team against first team. That would be very bad for their development. Don't you think?
I don't know. You got to be mentally tough. I wouldn't be too worried about that. I worry about rookies sometimes when they actually are handed the starting job. They're behind a really bad offensive line and they take 60 sacks in a season.
Like David Carr in Houston back in the day.
That was probably the most extreme example. I feel like it happened a little to Caleb Williams, although Caleb has a lot of confidence. He's number 1 overall pick. It happened, I think, to Bryce Young, took a lot of sacks. I worry about putting your quarterback out there when you can't protect him. I don't know if I worry about putting guys out there just for their ego.
Well, I think if Dillon Gabriel started, you go against practice Eagles and he was 0 for his first 11, you think that'd be healthy for a young quarterback? I don't think they want to do that. I think that there's no way those guys are ready, by the way. It's just too hard. It's very, very hard for rookie quarterbacks. Cam Ward, he wasn't even handed the job until Will Levis got hurt. He was going to get it eventually. But even that, it's going to be a learning curve. So, no, I don't think, and I think the basic disagreement is I don't think Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur is that close. You feel like Shedeur could go out there because he's a bit older. I get where you're going at, but I don't think it's going to look good if Shedeur plays right now.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Obviously, Shedeur's in the news because he's going to get some reps now, looks like, with the second team, which...
Don't forget, I had 2 sons, right?
Coach Prime, he's got 3. But Coach Prime taking center stage yesterday because of the press conference he held with his doctor and also a nurse / assistant, a woman who's obviously very important in his life and helped in his recovery. We know Prime had been away for all of spring, recovering in Dallas. We did not know what he was recovering from until yesterday when he announced, Pearl, that he had been diagnosed with bladder cancer. Luckily, he has beaten the cancer part of this, so he's now cancer-free according to his doctors, which is such a sigh of relief for anybody. But he still is dealing with the effects of bladder cancer, which is, and he's very open about this and said it yesterday, doesn't have control of his bladder right now and has to deal with the after effects of all of that.
Yeah. Do you think it's just a win? If he gets on the field, is he the feel-good story of the season? If, say, they lose the game. I'm sorry, I think he is. I think just to get out there is an incredible achievement. Soon after cancer, I'm rooting for the Buffaloes, and I don't care if they win. I'm going to be very into this story.
I think so. And we had even said this before we knew what he was diagnosed with. Has he already proven the point, right? Does he have anything left to prove, even, was something that we had asked before we knew that it was cancer, because he obviously has the blood clot issues and had some toes amputated, and Deion's really been through it. And, he took the Colorado program and he turned it around. So now I think the story just becomes even that more inspirational. Here's Deion yesterday saying the cancer journey really changed his life.
Get checked out, because it could have been a whole another gathering if I had. I'm thankful. It's been a tremendous journey. It's been tough. I think I dropped 25 pounds. I was like a Atlanta Falcon prime at one point, and just dealing with the catheter, dealing with all the stuff that I had to deal with. And right now I'm still dealing with going to the bathroom. Like, it's a whole life change. Like, I can't, and I'm going to be transparent, I can't pee like I used to pee. It's totally different.
He said he's going to have a porta potty on the sidelines. You're going to see that there. And while Deion at points was emotional, and this is very sobering news, but I'll bet, with a positive ending because he's now cancer-free, he even had his own Deion flair. You can't take the prime out of Deion. This is him talking about his new life now wearing Depend.
I depend on Depend, if you know what I mean. I truly depend on Depend. Like, I cannot control my bladder.
It's like amazing that Deion is talking this candidly about it, Pearl, and imploring people to get checked out and to not feel self-conscious or embarrassed or anything like that. And I think he is going to help a lot of people by, just put it out there, saying what it is. This is what I'm dealing with, and I'm still Deion Sanders. I'm still prime time, and this can affect me. It can affect you.
Oh, absolutely. The thing about Deion, too, is he used to be love us or hate us kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he openly was courting people to dislike them. He went into Colorado, cut everybody immediately, and then he kind of always would address the haters last year.
Yep.
I think that kind of goes away now. I can't imagine the haters are going to stick around to hate Buffalo. The Buffaloes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be 100% approval rating, but I think we did have a little disagreement. I can't imagine them being that good. They just lost Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, and they're Colorado football. Like, I would have very modest expectations for this team. Like,
haters.
I mean, if they made a run for the Big 12 title, and that would be like the story of the year by a million. But I just think that, okay, they're probably going to be a 5 or 6 win team, battle to be bowl eligible. It's still going to feel like a win.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when anytime you're talking about a matter of maybe life and death, which thankfully it didn't come down to that, and again, this has a positive ending here that Deion has beaten bladder cancer, but of course, like, anything's going to seem silly in comparison, sports especially. But I do think that, I think Deion still wants to win. And is he going to always, like, people are going to obviously feel a ton of sympathy or empathy if you've been through something like this. You'd be a monster not to. Is Deion going to get through the whole season, like, drama-free? I also don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, is he going to talk trash? I mean, he had a bunch of feuds going on.
Probably. I mean, but I kind of don't want him to change.
Yeah, I agree.
You're going to be changed after something like this, but you want Deion to be the full Deion. Not that I'm saying people can't evolve and stuff like that, but I think, you go there to play for Deion Sanders. You're a fan of Colorado. You're rooting for him. You're embracing the whole Deion Sanders package.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of health issues in the past and never changed at all. Even in the hardest of physical times, he was still. Yeah, I would say the word arrogant. He's still, he's primetime.
He's an inner circle Hall of Famer, and
and also he's the one inner circle Hall of Famer who will tell you how good he was. No one has ever, except for Ricky Henderson. I think Deion's number 2 in the all time.
Oh, that's interesting.
Speaking in third person, I mean, we used to interview him all the time at Dan Patrick's show, and he's like, he still thought he could outrace every single player in the NFL at like 48. He's primetime. There's no other way to describe him.
This was so yesterday. We started talking. This is going to seem like a left turn, but I'll get back there. Yesterday, we had a robust conversation about prenups. Remember that? Yeah. We were talking about prenuptial agreements and about,
Rashawn Slater signed a contract and right after he divorced his wife.
Yeah, so he got a divorce, the offensive lineman for the Chargers, and then was it a week later, 2 weeks later? All of a sudden, now he signs this massive contract. So it got us down the road of prenups. So now Deion yesterday was talking about another legal document that can be a little bit, kind of awkward sometimes. He was talking about his will. Now, thankfully, he doesn't need this now because he's fine. And, he's cancer-free. Again, still dealing with the after effects. But Deion talked about getting his affairs in order and how this is going to impact his kids.
The funny thing is about that, you sitting up there ranking your kids again. Let me see. Shiloh deserves how much? Bossy, she left Colorado to go elsewhere. Let me see. Like you really going through this stuff. Making sure your mama's straight. Yeah, I'm serious. You rank your kids too. I'm not the only one.
Can you imagine?
What about Junior?
You can't rank your kids in your will, right? Like Deion, I know he's joking around a little bit.
Ooh.
Oh, come on.
Perloff has a ranking.
No. I mean, listen.
Your daughters are
Maggie's
both
right.
equally amazing.
If you go to a lawyer and say that you are giving less to one kid, that's a thing. But it does happen. We see it on TV all the time. Like the so-and-so daughter got next to nothing. Like that is a consistent theme on TV shows.
I think and for people who have these huge estates, like I'm sure Deion Sanders is a super wealthy guy. But
I'm not 100% sure he was joking, by the way, Maggie. He has openly talked about that ranking. He had it posted in his kitchen.
It's so crazy to me. It's such an interesting parenting technique. But it's also funny that it's one thing if you're, leaving a business, right? You're leaving the business that either has been in your family for generations or you started it and you're like, well, maybe one son or one daughter would be better to run the business than another. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you're leaving money, don't you have to split it equally amongst all of your offspring?
I mean, I don't know. I would, but I do think that there are reasons that it's happened. I mean, that's why those lawyers make so much money for wills. And I have a friend who works at, I think it's called probate court, and every will goes, you're probably going to go to court for a will someday.
I don't want to.
It happens to every will is contested ever since the beginning of time. For example, what if, one of your parents sadly dies before the other? What if he remarries like Bill Belichick style right before?
Oh my gosh.
Then the will
that?
goes to major, then there you have a problem.
No, there was a report. The Pablo Torre had the report that someone in Belichick's family, they were concerned that Jordan Hudson was now getting written into the will.
Yeah, wills are not simple. So, yeah, I think if we know anything about Deion, he's the kind of person who would get into this. I don't know if he was joking.
It kind of sounds like every time he tells us don't forget about Shiloh, maybe actually Shiloh's the one who's going to be ranked number one.
What about Shiloh?
What about
does feel like he's into Shiloh. He saw Shiloh in Tampa Bay Buccaneers camp. He hasn't gone to Cleveland. It feels like he's feeling Shiloh.
He always makes sure we don't forget about Shiloh.
I think Shiloh, by the way, has a chance to make a roster because he is a human missile. That guy does not care about getting flags.
And let's not forget Shiloh.
That's not good for a team.
Yeah, I think that you need that guy. I don't know if in the year 2025, but he would have been a great 90s player. Because remember Colorado, he played like a crazy man. He was a total kamikaze, which is interesting because he grew up a rich kid. I think I'm going to, don't forget about Shiloh. That's all I'm saying.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Rank your kids in a will? I mean, the one thing is you're not going to be there to have to deal with the aftermath.
EJ, you're one of 4.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about where your ranking in the will might be?
Rank me number 1.
What's that?
Please, Mom and Dad, rank me number 1.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yes.
Oh, you have such a leg up.
And you guys are not going to have to worry about this until far, 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 far in the future. But would you appreciate your parents leaving you a ranking, even if it's not the money? Just like, hey, I always knew I was mom's favorite.
As long as I'm number one.
Yeah, if you're number one, you feel good about it. I mean, if you're number 3 or 4, you're probably like, what the hell?
Well, there's one also significant difference. Women take care of older parents better than men. It's the cliche out there, and I kind of think it's true. I feel bad for your parents, EJ, because there are no girls,
There's
right?
no girls, right? So that's an advantage for your boy over here. There's no, daddy's favorite girl. There's no that doesn't exist. There's a youngest son who's Henry Jr. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he has a leg up because he's a Henry. Suppose, like, my dad Henry Sr.
Yeah, the namesake. No. Got it.
So maybe there's that. I don't know, but.
Manny, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one older brother and one half brother that lives in El Salvador.
Yes, and I heard from your dad, he already gave most of his money to your older brother.
That's right, yes, for his education. That is correct.
So you're due in the will.
Oh, I'm in the driver's seat right now.
You're like, I don't need to go to Penn State.
But my brother does have the upper leg right now because my brother did just announce that he and his wife are pregnant. So
hey, congratulations.
That's the first grandson or actually first grandchild for my parents. So I don't know, maybe he has a leg up right now. Yeah, I think I'm
you're out again.
I'm striking out. Yeah, I got home drunk on Sunday night, so I think I might be third right now.
Well, felicidades to your family. That's fantastic.
Muchas gracias.
Do you know what they're having?
Nope. Christina wants to find out when the baby is born.
Wow.
So
that terrifies me.
Yeah, my brother's absolutely riddled with anxiety because of that.
Well, and it has many months to grow, that anxiety, along with the baby. It's like the last secret or the last like surprise that you have in life.
Uncle Manny.
Nick's onesie already purchased. Theo Manny loading.
I've heard that's like I don't know if it's a newer thing, but it feels like a lot of the women of this generation are getting pregnant. A lot of them do not want to know. And this has been not a contentious thing. Me and Andre have talked about this a ton because she doesn't want to know it. I'm like, no, I have to know.
Is that partly because the gender reveals that I see on social media are so dangerous?
You got to up the ante so hard
I saw
on
a guy who clearly he was doing like a weight thing where he was pushing weight. The dumbbell must have been 5 pounds. This guy was like jumping on boxes and doing flips with like a full bar.
And that was the gender reveal?
Yeah, and then like he dropped the dumbbells and then it revealed it was a girl or whatever.
Okay.
But like he was jumping up and down on a box with a bar over his neck.
EJ, someone burned down like an entire forest on accident. Like these things have gotten way out of control.
I think people have died, sadly.
Yeah. You want to know how also what could happen to you? Like what happened to me and my husband is all of a sudden they put the scan up and you see a little wee-wee.
Oh, you see, you know
and
what?
There you go. And
I got to tell
you,
I saw the scan and there's so many little things pointing every which way. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, we saw it and it was just like, oh, okay. We weren't sure if we wanted to know or not, but there we go.
Not to call you out of this, but like, there's a lot of things going on. Like, are you sure that you?
My husband goes, "Is that a?" And they go, "Yep."
Oh wow, That was the first time you saw him.
Well, no, but the first time it looked like anything.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, when I first got that imaging, I'm like, what the heck is that?
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4466.
That's the head. That's an arm.
You have sure? Honestly, it's the first set of images. You're not sure which end is up or which end is down.
Yeah, that's whatever. It's a blob. Okay, we got a lot to do. This started off with a Browns quarterback conversation. Coming up next, we will tell you the craziest thing that I will not be able to get over if this actually happens in sports. I won't be able to buy it. M&P. You see a little wee-wee.
You're in a 5-minute break.
chat where the wild ones roam. There's a legend named Drunkle, never drinks alone. He's got caps lock, wisdom, and a typing hand, defending on Maggie like a one-man band. Y'all back off, he types an all bold. She ain't gross, she's just cold. Yeah, maybe she acting that Yeti one night, but rinse it with verb and it'll turn out right. Drunkle sound in the digital stand, swearing up and down, that's my Kim, I'm her man. Is he real, is he fake, no one really knows, but he's got her back through highs and lows. Family's family, he swears with pride, you don't judge a girl on a rough ride. So here's to the myth and the Yankees hat cam, raise your bottles for Drunkle Sam. He claims he taught her to throw a curve and burp the alphabet without losing nerve. Says Maggie's tough, ain't no shame in that. Then spills PBR all over his cat. Selling beats, he try to scroll past the mess, but Sam's in the chat screaming, show some respect. She ain't just a host, she's my blood and soul. That Yeti's historic, let the record show. Drunkle Sam, the mysterious fan, defending his niece with a keyboard in hand. Is he blood, is he bluff? Hell, we can't be sure, but he fight the whole chat just to keep her pure. Real Uncle stand tall through the cringe and the crown, so shut your traps, Drunkle Sam. Maybe he's real, maybe he ain't. Maybe he's Maggie's long-lost saint, or just a dude with a burn name. Well, Drunkle Sam stumbled into work at night, smelling like a whiskey, cheap boxed wine. Tried to flirt with Lisa from accounting again, but HR warned him that's strike number 10. Oh Sam, you gotta read the room. You ain't Casanova, you're just full of booms. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Did he call in sick or win the damn lottery? Nobody's seen him since 2:15. Was it a long night or a rendezvous? Oh, Bellotti, did you ghost us for good? Or are you just stuck in your neighborhood? Sam sent an email, slurred every word. Called the boss, baby man, that's absurd. Tried to high-five, but he missed by a mile. Knocked over the coffee, still flashing a smile. Then he said, I may get too familiar too soon, I am told by HR and writing, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby? Phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to clean this up. Then he said, I may get too familiar too soon, I am told
30 seconds remaining.
by HR and writing, yeah, that.
Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Defensive Player of the Week is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Wow, this is a tough one this week. Baseball, WNBA, training camp. Maggie, do you think EJ would have picked somebody who excelled in training camp?
I mean,
like a fancy interception in the corner of the end zone or something?
I hope not, because it's just training camp stuff. Are we getting a little, would we be getting a little ahead of ourselves?
Well, I mean, listen, it's the middle of summer. You can't go baseball, but there's 162 baseball games. Is anybody really making that much of an impact? I'm going to go with Abdul Carter, the New York Giants rookie, for the 6 spin move that made all the highlights earlier this week. Abdul Carter is a defensive player of the week.
I think I'm going to go with someone from the Fever. Maybe like Aaliyah Boston at a couple blocks. On Sunday, they played at the Chicago Sky, but Caitlin wasn't playing. But they won easily, 93-78.
No, we're not going Fever, or we're not going Abdul Carter, though he does look pretty sick in these highlights in training camp. No, we're going to baseball last night. We're going to my favorite city in America, San Diego, California.
The other way and deep. Fernando back at the wall. That ball's gone. Off the wall, apparently. Or on the transfer, not sure which. He got it.
This is unbelievable. Did you see the flash look? There's the catch. Brings it back. There's the trap. What a catch, Fernando. You are unbelievable.
Shallow right. Fernando racing in. Sliding and making the catch. Fernando doing it all tonight.
Yeah, I don't know when Fernando Tatis turned into Torrey Hunter, but he was last night playing right field, not center field. But Tatis robs Vientos over home run, also makes a sliding catch on Starling Marte. He was phenomenal out in the field. So it's against my team, which is quite sad. But for the rest of America, Fernando Tatis is the defensive player of the week.
Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose.
Takes a big man, EJ. Recognized, even though that was a painful loss last night. Good win for the San Diego Padres. Bogusch has the latest. What's up?
We have New York City Mayor Eric Adams saying this morning that the alleged shooter in yesterday's Manhattan attack was targeting NFL headquarters, believing he had CTE from playing football. After killing 4 people and wounding another, the man meant to go to league offices but went to the wrong elevator bank. Now, the wounded person is an NFL employee. The Athletic reported this morning that he works in the finance office and was hit in the back while downstairs on the phone with his coworkers about the situation going on at their building in Manhattan. Roger Goodell telling league employees in a memo last night he was in stable condition at the hospital. Baseball is dealing with its own real-life issues at the moment as well, losing Hall of Fame second baseman Ryne Sandberg yesterday. The Cubs legend was just 65 years old. In December, Sandberg announced that his prostate cancer had returned and spread to other organs. He is in Cooperstown because of 1 NL MVP, 7 Silver Sluggers, and 9 Gold Gloves. The current Cubs had an important game last night, a first-place showdown with the Brewers in Milwaukee. Chicago scored 3 in its first at-bat, but lost 8-4, dropping out of their tie for first for now. Without all-star closer Emmanuel Clase, the Guardians gave up 4 runs, top 9, lost to Colorado 8-6. Clase is on non-disciplinary paid leave through the end of August while MLB continues a gambling investigation. We don't know yet exactly how Clase is involved. We do know that this means Cleveland cannot trade him before Thursday's deadline, as was expected. Shohei Ohtani, a tie-breaking 2-run double, top 5. His Dodgers win in Cincinnati 5-2. The Giants lost their 4th straight, 6-5 to the Pirates. And the Padres, here we go again, cooled off those Mets.
Gregory Soto will deal. And Diaz lines it into left field. Here comes Nimmo, has to play it on a hop. Iglesias rounding third. Here's the throw to the plate. No shot. And the Padres walk it off.
On Padres radio, 7-6, snapping the Mets' 7-game win streak despite a 5-1 lead for New York in that one. Paige Becker scored 20. Her Wings held off the Liberty, 92-82 in Dallas. The Storm hammered the Sun, 101-85. And Cam Brink is back tonight as the Sparks meet the Aces. Brink tore an ACL just 13 months ago, only 15 games into her rookie season. Guys, back to you.
Okay, so I teased it before the break, Pearl. If this one thing happens, I just won't be able to believe it. I won't be able to get over it. And it looks like it may happen. I don't know. John Gruden is looking to get back into the NFL as a head coach. If John Gruden gets another job in the NFL before Bill Belichick does, I don't think I'd be able, it wouldn't sit with me. I don't know if I'd be able.
Double, X jit, 36 counter naked waggle at 7, X quarter on 1. Ready, break.
He's a better media personality than he was a coach, and he won a Super Bowl. But I think everyone says, and I'm not trying to denigrate John Gruden here, that it was Tony Dungy's players, and he got to play against his former team where Bill Callahan may not have changed the playbook very much. So he kind of had this very unique lane to, you got to get to the Super Bowl, of course, but then to win it, where he had multiple Hall of Famers along that defensive line. So again, I just can't imagine a world where John Gruden would get hired again before Bill Belichick, but I think in the NFL, but I think that will happen.
Yeah, I don't totally view John. John Gruden was pretty successful. I mean, it was terrible, but wasn't because until the second stint with the Raiders, I thought he was very well thought of.
I think John Gruden's star grew a lot doing Monday Night Football. I think that people liked his folksiness, and he is until those emails came out where he was using those racist tropes against DeMaurice Smith. Yeah. I do think that people were really into John Gruden, that he had this sort of he's the Hooters guy, and he's got this, and he still has this career now with Barstool, and he puts out funny videos and stuff. But I just can't imagine Bill Belichick won 6 Super Bowls and John Gruden would get a job in the NFL before Belichick.
I mean, Gruden, I just looked at 61 and Belichick 73.
Doesn't matter.
I think it definitely matters.
Well, here's my other thing about John Gruden, right? Yeah. So one of the big things about Belichick was at the end, he wasn't drafting well, and it obviously looked like, he couldn't do much without Tom Brady.
Right.
John Gruden drafted well at the Raiders. We're talking about how he and Mike Mayock both did not have these draft picks that hit. It's part of the reason why the Raiders find themselves in the situation they're in. And if you read some of the stuff coming out of Las Vegas at the time, Gruden maybe steamrolled Mike Mayock on some of those draft picks and really wanted his input. So if you're afraid that Belichick is going to, not be a great drafter, but John Gruden all of a sudden is is Howie Roseman? I don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Gruden was right there in the late 90s with Andy Reid and definitely McCarthy. He was considered the young genius on that staff, right, in Green Bay. I think, and look at his record, he was definitely built the Raiders offense into something legit. Now, Tampa Bay won with defense, you're right, but he had Brad Johnson as his quarterback. He never had a quarterback, and then the team fizzled because they got old. He was great in the Monday Night Booth. You have to remember, he was the hot thing. He was supposed to be a huge innovator. This happens all the time. You're an innovator in your 30s, and then you're not an innovator by your 50s. So I think you're putting way too much. I think John Gruden as the sort of jokey Monday Night Football guy, and now...
No, I'm thinking about the Raiders.
Yeah, but I just think, I think he lost his fastball. But at one time, he was a real, he was a major factor in coaching. He was probably top 5 in the whole league.
But right now, Bill Belichick is the greatest NFL coach of all time. And he was out there looking for a job and couldn't get one in the NFL. And yet John Gruden gave some quotes to the Detroit Free Press. This is where we're getting this from, about how he's really looking for his last shot. And he's, optimistic that he can get a shot. I mean, the idea that John Gruden would get a job before Bill Belichick in the NFL, to me, is lunacy.
When do you think is the last time John Gruden won at least 10 games in the NFL?
Well, how many?
Tampa?
I mean,
years.
When did he stop in Tampa Bay?
He left Tampa in 2007. The last time he won double-digit wins was 11 wins in 2005. 20 years.
Right. I mean, it's definitely old. There's no doubt about it. But, hey, it's worked. Dick Vermeil came back after 18 years away or whatever.
Right, but he coached, 8 more years after that. That's my point. Is this was not he had that one good year in Tampa and then he retired like Vermeil did. This was he coached 4 more years in Tampa, then went to the Raiders. He has been mid for an extremely long time.
Well, I mean, he was gone from the sport for a decade.
Right, which doesn't help his case in terms of being a great NFL head coach. You're talking about guys coaching now. Bill Belichick he has Super Bowl rings in the last decade.
There are a lot of owners, I think, who remember when Gruden was the hot thing. If you're going to put the personal stuff aside, I think Gruden as a football coach, probably, it wouldn't be, if you didn't have all the side stuff, then it wouldn't sound crazy. It would sound like bringing back Mike McCarthy. It would be that's why I think Gruden is.
I just think that he had the same type of control in Las Vegas that Belichick had in New England. I do think John Gruden had a lot of power. Yes, Mike Mayock was there as his hand-picked general manager. So I'm just wondering why Gruden would look so much more appealing than Belichick would.
No, but I mean, I think that he would have been one of these retreads. Again, But Belichick, we know why Belichick's not the coach. There's a bunch of reasons. Gruden's not going to come in there and fire everybody. He's not going to.
Why? What makes you say that? I mean,
I just think at this point, an owner would be like, okay, we're not going to get the full John Gruden effect because he's a diminished property. I think he's a diminished coach. I think Belichick would come in and fire everybody, and it'd be really hard to be around. And Gruden seems like people like him.
Well, to me, he seems like someone who wants the control. And I think that if he was like, listen, this is my last shot, I'm going to do it my way. Right?
Can he still do that anymore, though? I would think since he's been wandering in the wilderness. You know, it's funny. He works for Barstool now, which is the same path that Deion took to sort of get back into coaching. So who knows? The funny thing about John Gruden is, awful as those emails were, he seems to have a lot of fans. Like people, there are a lot of players who swear.
Lomas Brown, who joined us. Yeah. Remember, we talked about playing for him, and he said he loved him, right?
Yeah, my buddy Darren Waller swears by him. Said he's the best coach he ever had. And then I saw he was at practice with the Lions with John Morton, and the other coaches love him. I don't quite understand it myself. I would never want that guy as a coach. And DJ's right. I mean, it's been a long time since he's had his fastball. Okay, yeah. But that being said, by the way, Maggie, he does not have a head coaching job.
No, he doesn't. He certainly wants one. Just
remember,
like Belichick.
by the way, down the hall, Boomer Esiason said that he should be a strong candidate for the Jets. Or did he say he should be or is?
There was a faction of people in New York who wanted him for the Jets, no doubt. But they got Aaron Glenn. It seems like everyone's happy about that, too.
But that being said, I think we're a long way from actually seeing John Gruden hired. Like, does anyone here think that's really going to happen?
Here's my other question. Do you think he'd just take any job?
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
Okay.
I think he would.
All right. I don't know. He seems like he loves the media, too. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I think he could have gotten a lower-level college job.
I think he could be an assistant.
Right. Like, people have come back from scandals. Like, this is America. People like to forgive.
Like, and maybe not even like a coordinator. He could be a quote-unquote special assistant.
Or QB coach even. Like, I could see
He
him.
was doing that with the Chiefs, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been at several camps. He was in Chiefs camp last year, working with their offense. I could see that for sure.
I mean, come on, we've seen some crazy comebacks. Bobby Petrino, I mean.
Yeah. Literally an offensive coordinator right now.
George O'Leary, like, you could come back from a lot.
That's why I asked, do you think he'd take any job? Because I'm sure he could have gotten back in if he wanted to.
As head coach or
No, it's like, and work your way back up. I mean.
Sorry, when you said any job, I thought you meant any head coaching job.
I thought too.
You meant.
I was surprised that he didn't take a lower level college job. I would have thought that a college program who wanted to put themselves on the map, get a little attention, would have gone for Gruden. I'm not saying it would have been Alabama, but just something smaller.
I mean, he's right there in Florida, you know. He lives in Tampa Bay still, I imagine, right? He could have been perfect for one of those schools. There are a lot of schools. I don't know. I'm not sure. That is interesting. If you're a college, would you worry about the messiness of the personal life stuff?
Oh, definitely. But you just mentioned Bobby Petrino's back. He's the offense coordinator at Arkansas. I mean, how'd you sell that to the fan base?
I mean, what do you think's more likely, him coaching in college or him coaching in the NFL?
I still think college.
Really?
You're right logically, but it does feel like he's circling around the NFL. That's where he wants to be.
No doubt. Okay, lots more to do, including we will do our superlatives, yes, for today?
Sure.
Let's do it next. It's Maggie and Perloff, who is the best kept secret in the NFL. Do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Maggie Perloff Show. We've been doing some college football and NFL superlatives. Pearl.
Yep.
Today we're doing the best kept secret on both the college ranks and both in the pro. So you want to start us off?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to start with the pro.
Okay.
I'm not sure if everyone remembers, it's already been a few months. The Detroit Lions traded up for a receiver named Isaac Tesla, who a lot of people hadn't heard of because he did nothing in college. But he was at Arkansas where they had no passing offense whatsoever. Then he got to the training process, ran a 4.43 40, jumped 40 inches in the air, had the highest athletic profile of, I think, any receiver in this draft.
Wow.
Lions move up 30 picks to get him in the top of the third round, and he is mossing people in practice, Maggie.
Nice.
He is just destroying everybody. And you know how the Lions lost Ben Johnson, but they still seem to spread the ball all over the place. You never know what they're going to do. I hope that they still do trick plays and stuff. I think Tesla's going to be an immediate part of what they do. I think they're going to try to get the ball in his hands just to take advantage of that athleticism. The early reports are wildly optimistic out of Detroit. So I think he's a guy, I don't know in that offense if you draft him for your fantasy team, but he's going to be worth watching.
That's interesting, man. Like the Lions need more weapons. I mean, they've got such a potent offense between Jameson Williams and obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. I mean, they've got a lot going on. And the run game.
And but they love that. They seem to like to hit you out of nowhere. Just don't let Jameson Williams throw, and you'll be okay.
For my NFL best kept secret, I've been thinking about the Steelers a lot, mostly because you and I really disagree on what the expectations are for them and maybe what they could be. You think they're going to be just like they've always been, kind of mid playoff team.
Yeah, 10-7, baby. Here we come.
Yeah, I think their expectation is actually Super Bowl. So for that, you're going to need your quarterback center situation to be really good. So Zach Frazier, and I can't claim to be like the offensive line guru, but the guys at Pro Football Focus absolutely love the center, Zach Frazier. Last year ranked top 6 center in the league. They think he could be even better than that. And for this Rodgers thing to go well, I'm not saying Rodgers has to throw for 40 touchdowns, but for Rodgers to go well, he's going to have to gel with that offensive line and obviously with his center. So I would say best kept secret, Zach Frazier, the center for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Man, I do not envy that guy because Aaron Rodgers is probably pretty prickly and specific about it, what he wants. So that guy is hugely important. I don't understand the Steelers line. Like they're promising, but then Najee Harris never had it more than 3 inches to run last year. So anyway, okay, college ranks.
Yep.
I'm going to go, and I don't know how unkept he is, but Sawyer Robertson, the Baylor quarterback, had a really good year last year. And I'm going a little more with the college football writers I trust. He's a deep, deep long shot to win the Heisman. But it seems like the insiders are like much, much more high on the Baylor quarterback. He's at 60-1 behind some of the names he's behind Gio Lopez of North Carolina, behind Caden Salter, who may not even win the job, behind Nico I, who I'd be shocked if he could put up numbers at UCLA. Because we know Baylor is a place where we've had big numbers before, and Sawyer Robertson's a very, very big guy, 6'4", 220. I think he's 22 already. It just sets up, that's one of those scenarios where a guy could just have an explosive statistical year, and if the team is good, you never know with Baylor. Like, they'll hit you out of nowhere with a good season. He could all of a sudden get some Heisman hype.
Yeah, their head coach I do not trust. He gave a press conference recently where he may have given one of the most bizarre answers to a question I've ever heard in my entire life. We couldn't play it because it's so odd and weird.
But he was the guy. What was it, 2 years ago? He was like the hottest coach.
Yeah, Dave Aranda. This one again. We couldn't even play it. It was just so bizarre and weird. Anyway, and we love weird stuff around here. It was not in a good way. It was weird in a bad way. I've already given Austin Simmons as an answer for a different superlative, but I absolutely love this dude. Ole Miss quarterback, basically bred in a lab. I don't think he's a household name yet, even though he had that good drive against Georgia, but he will be the starter for Lane Kiffin, so I think he's going to be the next big thing. But if you're going to go with my best kept secret, we talked a lot about Colorado today with Deion Sanders announcing that he has overcome bladder cancer, thankfully. And we talked about their expectations and how much longer Deion wants to coach. I think Jordan Seaton, not yet a household name. I think best kept secret as a left tackle that Deion brought in, and whether it's going to be, the veteran quarterback that Deion goes with or the young 5-star, I think Jordan Seaton is going to become a household name this year.
Household
left tackle as much as a college tackle can be.
I think the only college tackle that is, I'd say Orlando Pace was the one I remember.
Yeah, Joe Thomas people knew.
But, I mean, that was part of the Wisconsin machine. I don't think he was a household name, Joe Thomas.
No, it's hard. It's hard.
I would say, Caden Proctor came into Alabama with that kind of reputation, but it's got to be somebody from Alabama.
Jake Long was a pretty big name.
Because his dad.
Yeah, Jake Long.
Yeah.
No, Jake.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just adding to the names.
Yeah, I don't know. Was he that big? Though? Like Orlando Pace was, I think, got some Heisman votes.
For sure.
Double check that one. But it's really hard for that. Yeah, Jake, not part of the Long clan.
Oh, who's the offensive lineman?
Chris Long.
Chris.
Chris and Kyle.
Kyle.
Right, yeah.
What do you think? Can an offensive lineman be a household name? Who do you have, EJ? Someone from your Miami Hurricanes?
No, I
Best
wouldn't
kept
pick,
secret?
no, I
Don't
wouldn't
do
pick
Carson Beck.
No,
I wouldn't pick
we know
somebody
too
from the
much about
Canes.
Beck. Keep that Snapchat on private.
You know what? You should just give us the Hurricanes or the NFL.
Oh, the Hurricanes are going to the NFL?
No, I say that should be your best.
Xavier Restrepo?
I know, just somebody. Yeah, Restrepo, definitely. Actually, I think he's going to make the team. And
Did
he's actually,
at Arroyo, they cut their starting tight end, right? So he might start this year.
This reminds me that our defense sucked because he should have been in the college football playoff.
Thank you, E.J. Stewart. Thank you, Manny Rodriguez. And congrats to the Rodriguez family, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos.